你干嘛？ Your fault. You good.
Learning. Okay, first one on the agenda is owner's comments. Okay, thank you. Did we have a sign in sheet this time? No, not this time because we're gonna be around everyone to see. Would anyone like to say a few words before we get into everything? Before we go over your notes. So I know everybody wrote everything down, so thank you guys for coming in early. So like Catherine said, we're gonna start with action item or discussion item 1 about tennis court concerns and solutions. So in front of
So
us.
let's see what we have here. Tennis court.
Do we have to call the meeting? Then verify.
Yes, verify attendance forum. No, but it's a workshop.
It's a
right?
workshop.
Can I say something to open up?
Yeah.
Just to thank everybody for your time, right, and in accommodating this request, right? I know your time is valuable and this is voluntary, so we really appreciate it.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Appreciate your being here as well. Okay, we're gonna adopt the agenda from the last meeting.
So is there any concerns with the discussion items as a committee?
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
I'm still. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'll get to know you.
Seriously.
I know the case. Okay, so number 1, the tennis court concerns. Okay, we got tennis court. Seems good. Are these all that tennis court?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so what we'll do.
Like you said, we're passionate.
I love it.
All right.
Passion's a good thing.
We'll start with 1 and just decide middle.
Yes.
Okay, consider, I'm sorry, shutting the lights out late at night to save money? Was that what someone wrote down?
Yeah,
Okay,
because they're on all night, right? That's gonna be
The tennis courts,
Well, this.
all around downtown. Yeah, oh, excuse me, all around downtown, yeah.
so I'm sorry, are you talking about turning off the tennis court lights out late to save money?
Yeah,
well, turning them off at all, unless you.
I suppose it would be more if you did areas downtown.
So,
So
so this one to turn out the lights, they're supposed to be turned off at 10:30 at night.
They're usually until 11. I live in town and they're until 11 and they go on at 6 in the morning,
Okay.
which is ridiculous because the park's supposed to close at 9.
Yeah, it depends on like the tennis courts are technically open till 10 as well as basketball court. But it's also for the safety of the staff,
Yeah.
so like at least a half hour afterwards.
Well,
Like
I
the 6
understand that, but,
Yeah,
you know,
What time do the tennis courts officially open?
they're officially open at 7 a.m.
So, many people, myself included, often in the winter, we play at 6 a.m. or 6:12 when the lights go on.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm just saying that is happening.
Okay.
And it happens with tons and tons of times throughout the winter because that's when the lights go on. And for better or worse, that's a signal that we don't really have enough tennis courts or tennis courts time in town, especially for those prime time hours before Darren shows up and before people go to work.
So is that a discussion then as a committee, like, that we can open the floor with this one? Do we want the tennis courts to stay at 7 a.m.? Like I could turn the lights on at 6:50 a.m. So it's not 6:10, 6:12 a.m. So that way it'll prevent people from playing earlier than
We should just
7.
be
What's the
aware
harm
of
with
that
people
And if
complaining?
neighbors are complaining,
Yeah.
that it's noisy or something, I mean, we are facilitating that. And I am one to take advantage of it. The lights are on, I like to play early because.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, it shows it's welcoming. So that's something that's easily resolved,
Yes.
that we can address the lights. So thank you for that clarification.
but the ordinance says that there should be no noise before 7 o'clock. So the gentleman that lives in the Mirasol that complains all the time that says it's too noisy, we have to consider him before 7 o'clock.
So if it's 7 a.m., I'll have the lights on, go on at 6:45 or 6:50 a.m., at least 15, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay,
And there's,
putting this.
there's no one checking the courts and that after 10 o'clock at night.
I'm sorry, you asked
There's
me.
no one checking the courts or anything after 10 o'clock at night, so the lights are still
So-
up till 11.
Yeah, so we have a Mayberry security officer, that's scheduled, I believe, till 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Mistaken, so.
wasted time.
Sorry, no, you had a comment?
Oh, no, that's, right now, we have the daylight, but during the winter, very dark.
Okay.
So it's kind of scary if you're waiting for people and,
You mean outside the court?
yeah.
That you're saying, that's what I was trying to say, that the 10 to
Like,
15.
it's better to have them,
30 minutes before and 30
Yeah, I was
minutes
gonna
after
say
might be a
maybe
good.
Yeah.
Like 6:30 and 10:30.
yeah, sometimes I'm thinking a bear is gonna come in.
No, it's, I will say that towards the end of Lakeside, it is a little bit eerie. Because when we do events down there at night, it looks like Fort 1 and 2, it's not fully lit, or the trees are covered in the light, so I understand.
Yeah.
Are those courts that are closer to Marisol?
Fort 1 and 2 are closer.
Oh, I know.
Can they just like open 1 and 2 later? To appease the man in Marisol and keep the noise down, or does he hear the noise from all the courts?
I think yeah, I mean, you're gonna be looking and listening, you're gonna hear from all the courts. I don't know how close he is though, you know, it seems like.
Is he close?
One of my solutions on there is, you know, I think we should have regular earlier hours there, but, I think to be fair, go check and make sure things are quiet. Have somebody come down at 7, make sure that the sound is good, make sure people aren't screaming and shouting. Maybe you get the cameras to work, but monitor it. I want them to be monitored, because I know when we're out there, we're just playing tennis, and 1 o'clock is Osceola County.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
two or
they-
five, 5 tennis courts.
Usually tennis people are quiet.
I don't think anybody's being loud besides the actual
If
tennis
they're
ball.
not young.
I mean, they're screaming, right?
Well, I've heard a couple of people say it's cursing.
So that was the first item, I already have that written down.
Yes, just like
Oh, yeah.
6:30.
It says no cursing, no shouting, be respectful, and so the board or security monitor
But,
it.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll send it.
Yeah, until one's coming.
So that's going 30 minutes before and after, or is it
6:30.
Is 30 lights on, why?
Okay.
And 10:30 lights off?
10:30 lights off, yeah, for safety concerns.
So, do we go 10:30?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ladies, real quick, you guys were talking about something about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m., that no one's arriving. So we do have Mayberry at 11 o'clock. If you feel like there's someone in the place, like you hear noise, I can give you this number that's for Mayberry. You get the 24-hour thing, it's posted everywhere in our village, but we have them monitoring 24/7. Even if they're not there, you call this number, and then I can give you guys that number before we leave
Yeah,
tonight.
I think that would be a good
Yeah.
idea, be sure it's consistent,
Yeah.
just keep three numbers, so they're not.
Like a-
No, so it's like, I go outside. The pool,
Low,
it's
medium,
posted.
and high.
So, yeah, yes, ma'am. But if you ladies are,
I
you
never
guys
see,
forget, you might, yeah.
I walk through there with my dog at night all the time. But I do see cars in there at 11 o'clock, and I know they're selling drugs.
Well, don't they put the balance up anymore?
The ball
Don't they go up?
They go off.
If there's
Well,
cars
we
there,
did,
they're not gonna
we
go.
did.
They should be,
They come all the way around, if there's cars. Okay, so second topic.
Okay, second topic, lack of cover, I guess the sunshade from the sun on the porch 1 and 2. And install a bench canopy.
Okay, who wrote the lack of, okay, yes, can you go in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, so there's a similar structure already between courts 4 and 5.
Yes,
In the middle, between the 2 courts, there's 2 benches with kind of like a canopy, right? So this is, you know, a safety, you know, and right and health.
Okay.
and safety, right?
But we have it for 4 and 5.
So you want
which
to go
are
1 and
dark.
2?
Yeah, between one
Well,
and two, between 1 and 2, yeah.
Well, actually, we don't have any in course 3 either. But
Yeah, because we have like the benches on the side, but
Correct.
you're saying that to look at shade structure, so,
Yeah.
it may not look like the canopy, but potentially we could look at maybe an umbrella
Some-
or whatnot.
some-
Yeah, that-
Provide
something that we
shade,
can
yeah.
cool
Yeah, I
down.
mean, I mean, I will tell you
Okay.
what the right
Immediate.
fix is, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
But we need some shade aside from the trees.
I understand, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you might look at Fort Gatlin's tennis courts. I mean, it would be nice to have a really nice structure, but they are public courts and they do have shade canopies set up that don't look like they could cost that much money.
Yeah.
They have a high fence, much higher fence than we have, but those high fences have just a sort of temporary umbrella-like canopy.
Like sail.
Maybe we can go to their website and
Probably.
what do you mean, like I said, also, one
Well,
of
Nikki,
the,
many years ago,
towers.
we used to have umbrellas as a course.
Okay.
They just all got destroyed,
Oh.
the people just destroyed them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that might
Kids
be
and that would go on at night, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted the higher fence, so.
I understand, yeah. But at least this could be a temporary solution until we
Right.
review the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some provider of tennis equipment, whatever, or sports equipment has this
I
thing
could
ready.
totally check
Okay,
and send them to you. so-
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we can work together.
Save you time, okay.
I appreciate that,
Okay,
thank you guys so much.
That's gonna be an immediate, what the medium?
The umbrellas, the medium, we have it in stock. I would say the medium for the canopy.
Okay, so that's two separate.
Yeah, it's in between points.
Oh, I know.
Is there room over there to put like a table and like the table and umbrella that's around the pools? Is there room?
I feel like that would be more of a safety issue if someone running into
Yeah,
it.
that's,
Yeah.
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 I don't know if I tell.
Okay, next one.
I'm ready.
Okay, exclusive allocation of court time for tennis classes is, I guess, the problem. Limit time / days to allow residents to be part of classes.
So who wrote this one, so we can go more in detail?
I have one that's similar to
Yeah,
that.
that's-
so that's-
Okay,
I mean, unless that's mine or yours.
I had a different solution.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think.
so we can go here and then
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Okay.
You wanna start with it?
No, you go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that you know the issue, right, with occupational reports by, the partner programs, right? I completely understand that sometimes the success of the partner programs hinges on having people that are not residents be part for financial reasons, right? I understand. But I mean, like, it's, again, it's very limited, the space is very limited. I think we, provided this message over and over again, right? That the hours that are occupied are prime time, right? So, I understand that there's value in having tennis classes for the community, but I think it should be limited to residents, right? And if the partner cannot, find a financial, solution or value in that, deal, well, then so be it, right? But I mean,
So the solution is just to do tennis lessons for just residents only?
I would.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe only use one court,
Or
because
two.
I've been playing in court 3 and I've been taken out of that court several times.
Why
Because people don't live here.
don't we go
And
on
then
that?
I'm sitting with, I can play, but, there are a lot of people who don't live here and
Yeah.
they're playing. So, and sometimes you have a guest who play and they take you out of the court. Like, it's frustrating.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Well, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Why don't we go on that pile? Because the
That's
elephant in the
what's-
room is all about court time
Yeah.
and Darren
Yeah.
and all the benefits of, why don't we just take whatever's in that pile and separate that? That's the biggest issue, right? Because if you solve that issue, then everything pretty much falls by the wayside and it becomes much easier to do with the tennis court, right? Mornings, there won't be a problem because the courts will be open more or whatever.
Thank you for the note.
That's what we should really do, and that should be the main, I think, topic right for today.
And on top
I
of
think that's
that,
on everything.
on top of that, every time they bring other people from out, the outsiders, you see a lot of cars. Sometimes I can't find parking.
Yeah.
And it's
No, I know.
occupied by non-residents. And if it's night, now it's summer, but when it's winter, at 6, it's already dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like so stressed that I don't get any little kid because they go around from the parking lot playing because they're probably waiting for
Was
the
it kid, the
sister.
parents? Well,
Yeah, so they're playing around the parking lot and I don't think it's safe at all.
Nikki, let me ask, well, let me get done with that, go ahead. I was gonna ask, do you have to have 50% in Darren's class of residents, or does it matter?
It's, it is 50%, his roster has to.
Does he have that? I mean, is that like a?
He's providing it, that's what we get, but I mean, it's like, all of our partner programs have to be 50%, residents.
That's not happening now.
I mean, the thing is, Darren has this contract with Star Island and
Yeah.
that. Many times it's Star Island people giving lessons on our course.
Yes, yes. Their courts are careful.
We also advertise.
Yeah.
Okay, so Star Island.
What they do.
Brought in 2 coaches, from Star Island.
So, he's teaching our lessons. Is that what
Well,
you're-
because it's Darren's new coaches, because, I believe, Darren merged with them or partnered with them
Yeah, correct.
for a software system, for registrations for his group. That's where it all.
It's all over the website, the Star Island.
Yeah, the Star Island website, it says
We're going to
celebration.
our celebration location. You just, yeah.
When's the contract?
So, February 2026, so that's why I wanted, that, his contract ends February 2026. So
But
that's why I
can
wanted
he
to
do that with Star Island according to the current contract?
So his current contract has up to 2 courts at all times. And, he has Tuesdays and Thursdays, court 3 in the evening for children. But as long as he has 50% residents, I can't stop him with his
Who's
contract.
monitoring that? Because we need to.
Well, that's what we're kind of trying to resolve here.
Yeah, sure.
Because I can't have a park monitor sit there all day. So that's kind of like the concern that we have. We have people drive around, we brought in additional Mayberry security, but again, that's what we're trying to resolve.
Yeah, and it's a difficult.
I'll say something about your monitoring, and it was there, maybe 3 or 4 months ago when Star Island was playing there. They're super nice guys, but they came down and they said, Nikki sent me down to count how many people are at, whether they're in Star Island or whether they're residents or whatever. And I said, well, they're over there, can you go look? And he's like, oh, I've been told that they're fine.
Yeah,
So he did not want to count, and I said, well, I think you're
They
gonna need to go out to the court and actually look for IDs. And he really didn't want to, and I said, could you do me a favor, you may remember this, but I said,
I know exactly what you're talking
could you
about.
call Nikki? And because he was not empowered in his own mind that he could go and actually check
Yes.
for IDs, he didn't want to do that.
yes.
No, I know exactly who it was.
Nikki, I know you have that contract, but when you wanna play at 6 p.m. or say 5, 6 p.m., it's very frustrating that they have 3 courts and we only have 2 courts. And you have a lot of residents waiting, like 1-2 hours, that they can get 1 court. And it's frustrating to see 3 courts.
Yeah.
So one of my solutions to this, because I have 4 all related problems that are related to, maintenance not being kept up there's not enough money for stuff, so we're not charging him enough. I mean, he's paying about $4 an hour, and he's charging over $100 an hour when you add up all the people that are taking it. So I mean, that's all money Celebrations Board has decided to leave on the table. It was for decades, right? And there have been periods when the guy doesn't pay at all. There's some dispute going on and he just doesn't pay. So why we continue to let that contract be in place as opposed to just saying, you know what, you're on suspension. Maybe we haven't found another advantage to take over in the town. But I really think at some point, bad behavior, And, an unwillingness to close that gap and pay what he really needs to pay so that we can do maintenance, so that we have enough courts during prime time. If he's not flexible, then you say goodbye for a little while, and maybe he comes back later.
This is the land of tennis, we've got to be able to have other people that are just as competent or more, that would love to have this
I'm
conversation.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, go
I'm still trying to understand the story.
Don't worry.
Still trying to
It
understand.
sounds like there's a contract from Darren.
Somebody
Like,
modified
Is
the
this a
contract last year.
community?
Somebody modified the contract last year, I don't know why or how, but maybe it's been a year and a half now. But he was told that he could merge with Star Island. So he has sometimes just random people showing up that are pros, that nobody even recognizes, that just came to court that they're not signed up for. You go over and you check, they're not on the court. And kids and people from, this resort are showing up with their
It's a resort.
families and their
Yeah.
siblings.
TGI Friday from Monday.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out in front of the courts, they're running across the court when other people are trying to play, they're all part of the
Okay.
part that you're not supposed to be.
Okay,
part
so,
of.
I'm sorry, the contract is, it went through the recreation committee. So there was a scope of work. As of right now, he's paying a flat rate every month. So per his contract that he has right now, he's in good standing, or else it would have been brought to the rec committee. So I can't talk about the past right now, I'm trying to talk about the
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry there was concerns, but I'm focused on the future and trying to help you all out, okay? So let's continue, I just separated these while we're all talking.
Quick follow-up
Yeah,
question.
go
So,
right ahead.
I know it's February 2026, so is that typically a process that this committee oversees in terms of, is there a formal presentation from the partner program, in this case, the tennis, Advantage Tennis is the name or something?
So, yes, so what we,
So-
so what we can do is we'll work together as a committee. If the committee would like for Darren to come in to present, they can present before his contract. But every single contract gets approved by the Crow Board of Directors.
Okay.
As a committee, we just make a recommendation and the board makes the final choice.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. But if there's, sorry, Michelle.
That's okay.
But if there's, is there room, I mean, is that contract discussed as part of an agenda during a formal?
Yes,
committee
yeah,
meeting?
there is, yeah, so residents
So,
are
so
welcome
we,
to
so
attend.
you wanna,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, as resident, you're more than welcome to attend.
okay.
Just
Sorry.
one more thing, is it an open bid or is it first right of refusal by Darren?
So we did an RFP before for swimming, soccer, and tennis. But it has to come from the board level to task this committee to do an RFP moving forward.
Okay.
So we did do that.
Always been an RFP, because I had kind of a mixed response, that there's not always been an RFP, that sometimes he's just given his exclusive. from year to
So
year.
this
A
was,
few years ago, the
I
RFP.
believe it was in 2021, 2022, correct me if
No,
I'm wrong.
later, we did it with soccer,
Yeah,
we did
because,
it with swimming,
2022, so we did it with soccer, swimming, as well as tennis.
yeah. That's when the RFP was. And I think some of these ones only.
I do have a question. If we have a current contract, who is responsible to enforce that contract? Because we're gonna have this situation until February, and we don't know what's gonna happen from February on. So from now on, who's responsible to make sure that contract complies with?
So it's compliance, it's management, we're responsible for following up. So if there's any concerns that you all have, that's why we try to send people down. So Claire, that one time, we document anything that happens. So when it gets to the committee's level about contract renewals, they'll ask me, why are we renewing this? Is there any conflicts? That's when I'll present it to the committee if there's any
So
concerns.
just for an example, and it's not to create any dispute here, but if we already have said there are people that are out of town, that 50% that we have to comply, who's checking that? And where are the statistics to show us as residents, this is not happening, or this is not being complied with? I'm just
And what
thinking about.
happened if they don't have the 50%? What power these people who are monitoring that have at that point? Like, they have the power to take them out?
Yeah,
Last April 2024, I requested records associated with this contract. Many of you know this probably, through, email formal request, I got access to the records. And I did find several flaws, which Lauren knows, because I met face to face with Lauren about this, about insurance issues, about instructors not being, that they have like a
Background checks.
background checks and stuff that they have to do that were not there. A huge gap in payments that no one knows. And I'm with you, this is the past, right? I'm just stating facts, right? And I saw rosters, right, for, people with names there. And I mean, rosters are just there in the files. I mean, like, what I was told is that no one looks at these rosters, right? Lo and behold,
And there was also.
it was
Freestar
behind
Island.
payments
That was
because
Freestar
invoices
Island.
were being sent out late, allegedly, right? So what I'm saying is, we could easily go in, audit this whole deal, and there will be breach everywhere in this contract, right? Everywhere, right? Like, so I don't wanna take this to that level, right? I think we need to find a common solution, right? And it's not suing the guy, and it's not making his stop right now.
Yeah.
I think it's either putting an enforcement arm into this, like a serious enforcement arm where rosters are being verified, and I audit a ton of things, right, as part of my work. And I mean, I'm not saying you need to check rosters on a weekly basis, but hey, once in a while, grab a roster and confirm, right? I mean, once in a while, check insurance, once in a while, check that background checks have been conducted, right? But the oversight is, based on what I saw, April 28, things might have changed, right? So based on what I saw, the oversight is pretty much non-existent,
And
right?
I think we also have to be willing to accept, the board has to be willing to accept the concept that maybe it's not best for the contract to continue, or maybe the contract has to be completely repriced. Or
Exactly, yeah.
sometimes, let's not assume that he gets all these prime times at these great rates when we know. Because I took his clinic for several years. I mean, I know I'm paying $35 an hour, and I'm on the court with 4 other women, and we're taking his thing for an hour, where I can go up to USDA and spend $15 for an hour and a half. He's charging really high rates, and that's 2 years ago.
I don't blame
So-
him because this is his business and he had to maybe put money on this table.
Yeah, sure.
That's besides the point, but this group here shall be focused on Celebration residents. And if we live in a place that we are supposed to have as resident a discount or a benefit from it.
Yeah, I think the overarching message to the committee here is this next instance of renegotiation of this contract cannot be taken lightly. That's, I think, the
So
overarching
my
message.
question for you would be, is that on this table that you take that decision? Because apparently not.
No, well, I mean, they recommend,
Yeah.
we need to recommend,
It
right?
is basically like a filter, and then we come here, we discuss
So if the
it,
committee does not
one
recommend,
package to them.
if the committee does not recommend, then it doesn't get selected by the board, because it never gets to the board, right? So what I'm,
Well, and again, when you talk about rosters and 50% and all that, there's really no way to verify. It'd be you have to get a person a full-time job every week to do it.
I hear you.
Right, so I can come to you, I have 100 people in my clinic, I have 51 that are Celebration residents.
sure.
All right, Mike, Steph, everybody's there. For the next 4 weeks, and the guy goes and checks, nobody's a resident. So there's no rule saying that residents have to be 51% at the time of play. It just has to be overall.
Sure.
This has to be.
Sure.
So there's no way to verify that. Or, let's say he adds 10 more people in 1 week. Well, by the time he would go there and tell Nikki and say, hey, look, these are 10 new, it would be too much, right? It's a business. He's making money. So-
Hold on, one second.
Yeah.
My friends in the room, hold on one second, I'm so sorry to cut you off. So basically, we're kind of getting off topic here. I know it seems like Darren, I know this whole conversation is about Darren, I'm very well aware of that, but if we go, just wanna bring this up, if we say residents only, right, for the courts, we say resident only for teaching, problem is, every program that we have over 20 programs, I have to say residents only. So I don't wanna put you on the spotlight, but you have a program, soccer, if I told you residents only, would you be able to continue your program? Yes or no?
Not the whole program.
Be very
Okay,
difficult.
how about you with your?
I don't charge, but I, you know.
No, but
But
like,
yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
so that's just something I have
No,
to
but that was
consider.
my preamble, right, and I understand that.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
that
I think-
success
I
means
think-
how many people from
So,
the
so
outside.
maybe looking at his
It's
contract.
a pricing issue and.
Exactly, that's what that's.
So I think we're gonna.
Okay, everybody, one at a time.
So I get where you both are going here. Just like work with me real quick. I love this topic.
Pricing.
So pricing, okay, pricing and roster.
Yes, needs to go in, there needs to be a clause in the contract
Right.
that says, and by the way, if we do spot checks, we have the right to spot check you, and if we spot check you and you've got more than 50%, you could be terminated. We have the right to terminate you. That's scary, so if you've got a contract, maybe you're gonna use it, but you know now, because it's in writing, we can shred that contract, and so you're not gonna risk it.
I just think it's difficult to enforce
That's the,
residents at the time, like, there's just no way, it wouldn't be fair, look, it's all based on if everybody approves
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a business, so you can't say, okay, man, hey man, come and play today because I need one more guy to make that 50, it doesn't work that way. So
the
the
thing
real,
is
the
that
real
why
thing,
don't we have a clause that we can enforce?
So in the contract, it does say that we can do random audits on his program. So it does have that. Something that we could review as a committee. When this committee reviews the scope of work, it'll be open for all residents to see. We could potentially look at the numbers increasing for the roster. So maybe instead of 51%, it's 60% residents.
you
That's
guys,
something that we could review
So
in
what
the.
can we do if we find that he has more than 50% out, out of
His
contract?
So the problem is with his contract right now, like
the
Mike is
limit.
saying, it doesn't say 51% have to be on the tennis court today. You know what I mean? So that's where it gets a little bit tricky.
The whole business, right, the whole roster has to be composed of
Yes,
50%
Right, yeah.
residents and 50%
which
non-residents.
it probably is 50% residents.
Well, no one knows.
No,
No, that's
But the thing is this,
So,
I know, we keep circling around the same issue, I think we need to move on.
yeah.
Two questions.
Agreed.
Okay, I have a question. Yep.
Obviously knowing that I know not town, but the town has evolved and changed and 5 courts is certainly not enough. When we put this obviously in place with Darren, I guess how many hours every week does he have reserved? And are we now at a capacity, because you mentioned how many would play in your league and clubs,
People looking to play.
do we have to have it?
So,
If I like, do we have
In the
enough?
prime time.
Yeah.
so a couple things. So to answer your question, one, the previous committee was all about high quality sports. So that's why we tried to find someone with like high quality tennis pro. We had an RFP with I9 Sports as well that would only teach tennis once a week. And it was just Saturday mornings for 2 courts. So that was with the committee, do we want high quality or do we want someone to teach once a week? So that's why the committee went with Advantage Tennis. Sorry, Stephanie, what was your second?
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking, sorry, I was thinking. So it says he can have 2 courts at all times. So as a committee, we can review saying you only have like prime hours, maybe like once a week. You can talk about, he cannot do prime hours. It has to be like, let's say 11 to 5. We can have that adjustment as a committee. So that's something we'll talk about in
That's
the
a good
upcoming months.
idea.
Because there are quite a lot of hours during the day, yes, courts are not.
No, it's not.
can you adjust the contract like that or no, you
We
can't?
can adjust it for the 2026. Yeah.
But did the
The next
Star,
For the next, yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing this year.
but did
Yeah.
the Star
But anyways,
time
3
share
courses.
one trigger, like a trigger change to the contract? Because I would think that would.
So if you have there's in the contract, you can have a subcontractor
Okay.
underneath, so that's basically probably what that was, discussion was, is subcontractor. Sorry.
So I still think that
I'll
3
get to you
courts out
next.
of 5 is a lot.
Right, and then that's what this committee will be reviewing in the upcoming months. It's not something I can resolve now, but it's on my agenda for the upcoming months.
Okay,
Sorry, someone had a
so
question.
you're telling me that Celebration has agreed to the contract between Darren and Star Island, and Star Island are allowed to, you look at the Star Island schedule and it says they're in celebration, and many nights between like 4 and 7, the courts are filled. Now Darren's not there, and now he's probably teaching at the high school
Yeah.
because that's free. uses their courts free during the summer when it's closed. So you're telling us that Star Island can just come in here anytime?
So,
So it's part, it's certain hours.
wait,
Yeah.
hold on.
Well, they,
Sorry, so are you saying that this community is coming to our courts and playing like just like a resident? Or are they being
yes,
taught?
yes.
So who,
No, so, yeah, so Star Island, their website, it's not that they're all just being told you can come and play anytime here. They are doing it sometimes because on the website, it actually talks about Celebration Courts as being one of the locations where you can go and take lessons, okay?
okay,
And I've been there when busloads of girls have unloaded and started playing.
Yeah.
So there are strangers playing on the courts. However, Star Island's main activity on the courts, from what I see, are with professionals from Star Island or from Darren's team teaching Star Island people. And there's an important caveat to your point about the rosters being static. Sure, he can fill it with all the Celebration people. I've probably been on his roster before and I haven't played for years. But the key is to have something in that next contract where you recognize the fact that roster is to be defined. When people come in and out on a weekly basis to this resort over there, they may decide, you know what, I want to play tomorrow night. They're going to show up, they're not on Darren's roster. They're signing up and they're there that night. So there might be one night when a family, an extended family of 10 comes over and they take a class and they're all on these courts there. And that's almost all, and I see that all the time. Lots and lots of guests from Star Island and no visible residents at all, just Star Island people with their families.
Point taken, but we really do need to
Yes.
involve.
Yeah.
So these are good talking points for at least our upcoming meeting in the next few months about his contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rest of today, we have to, no more contract. I appreciate you all, just no more contract, because that'll be in the upcoming months. So you all will be notified about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we have next? This is,
Uncontrolled access to the courts.
okay,
Solution would be to raise the fences to come and close the courts.
okay.
And you're Lakshmi.
So that's you, okay, all right, go for it.
Oh, no,
Can I say
no,
anything
yes.
else to it? Okay, I just want to make sure if there's some
Most of
comments.
the courts are already, high,
Yes.
fences.
All
So
the ends.
we only need like
So
a couple of tiles there, so,
Yeah.
well, I don't know how much I got, but it's not much and makes sense. This is what,
You need the whole
Yes,
thing.
no.
So no, only the slides, so the ends are already, whatever.
Already up.
So only the slides and then a gate with a key card, that's.
So we'll pause with the key card first, I'll let you finish, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
but I was thinking to go to the bathroom, I use my card.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm not an expert, but we might have that system that we can,
Yes, so that was brought up, I was telling the ladies when they got here, it was brought up previously, I believe like 5 years ago. This committee looked at doing a fence. The thing is, you have to run electrical all the way down for like a key card scanner. At the time, it was $70,000, even just to lift up that minor bit with electrical. So I'll put it down. This is more of a high priority with maybe the technology committee as well as the board, but I have it down as a solution. I think it's a great idea. If we can't do a key scanner, even if we had to do a padlock
Or
and
some,
then
yeah,
or something.
or some access
or maybe,
code or something.
maybe a
The
key.
problem with this code is everybody will share that,
Well,
you know what I mean, like,
They
maybe-
look at it.
yeah.
What about a key, maybe it's like.
No.
No, at least it's it's better than.
Well, what happens with keys is that if you break the key off in the lock, you can't change
That's
it,
it.
you can't do it, it has to be.
Maybe at the dog park where you have to notify the town hall office that you want access and there's like a process.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
And that will also, if we control entry that way, that might also clear up issues we have with kids riding their bikes on the corner. and
Yeah, it's
that's-
like a very good paw sticker like I have in the
Yeah.
dog park. You know,
We have a
you
tennis
don't want to
racket.
say, I'm gonna be playing the tennis, so give me an extra sticker.
I got you.
My concern is that if you go to USDA, not only Star Island, but if you go to USDA and check places you can play, Orlando or Kissimmee, whatever, it shows celebration.
Yeah, I've noticed
So,
that as
and
well.
then you have that on top of Star Island, and then you go, because, okay, they say that I can play there, and then you go to the place and they're open.
Yeah.
So the general, I think the general, opinion of people is
Yeah.
that our courts are public.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm concerned about, that people go, sometimes we're playing, these people don't live here.
Yeah, if you type in Celebration Parks and Rec on Google, it shows it's a public park. It's,
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
it's wild. Yeah, even if you try to change it, somebody will go back and change it. So that's something that I've been trying to fix myself. Yeah.
The
We could bring it up to the tech committee.
Yeah, we were discussing that just the other day.
Nikki, what about if we gate, what,
The front, are you talking
We were
front of
just
Lakeside?
talking about that,
Yeah.
exactly, just the other day. And, because I
at least
completely
it's
agree.
something.
It's not gonna limit the access to the tennis courts, because people will park on the park and walk. What it will help with is just keeping the cars out of the parking lot.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
But, and Nikki said to me, again, you got to worry about the maintenance, the installation of the car.
Nikki,
Yeah.
have you noticed Friday night, what's going on there?
Yes, it's Wild West with the kids.
It's a scary
Yeah.
movie.
Yes,
I don't know what can we start with that, but
Yes.
it's scary.
Yeah.
I feel like it has some history on that.
The green gate that's supposed to be down there before the bollards were put in,
Yeah, you can talk about that.
that green gate can't go there because aesthetically it isn't good looking and Disney wouldn't allow it at the time. This was when Vaughn Roberts and them were on the board.
I guess
And
we
we
can't get it
fought
on your gate, like
to
to
get a
get some
security
hotels.
down there. And they wanted that gate that when you scan it, it would open and they wouldn't let it get done.
We were thinking more of a gate that would go up and
Swing
down.
arm, like a swing arm.
Is that what that's called?
Oh, yeah, the little.
It wasn't
Those are nice.
aesthetically good looking.
Yeah, that's why we brought them all the time.
Yeah.
So as
Yeah.
One
As
of
far
the, one of the
Yeah,
reasons
because people jump on it.
is that these are private
Especially in
courts.
high traffic areas.
So the,
Passing, if you-
there
you know,
are-
some side,
there's
that's cheap.
there's three signs at the tennis courts with the rules, and at the very bottom it says if you don't have an ID, it's considered trespassing. I could put so many signs out there and people still walk by. That's kind of the concern that
I
I
have seen this.
My solution would be if you go into that lot and you see a car without a sticker, call the police or call Mayberry and have them towed.
Wouldn't it just be easier to use the resources that we have now? You just tell the
Oh,
cars to
we
go
can
to the
tow, we can tow, yeah.
And then
We do it for the
5
farmer's
to
market,
8.
yeah.
Yeah, like for the
Yeah.
farmer's market, they do it.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can't have the car towed if they're parked at, no, if they're parked at Lakeside and they're a customer of Darren's and they don't have an ID.
Then
But they
So-
should-
So we told Darren that if you do have non-residents, they're not supposed to park out there. So basketball
Oh,
court.
good.
So unfortunately, people still park there. I mean, you see the stickers all the time, or no stickers.
Plus, he doesn't have the control to do that.
Yeah,
It's very
exactly.
realistic here.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of dealing with the contract, but when we write something in the contract, we have to make sure we can comply with it.
Yeah.
Or whoever we are doing it for can, and let's be realistic, not even us as residents would be able to know if a car doesn't have a sticker, if it is a resident or not.
Well, they have to have a sticker.
What would-
If it's not in their car, they have failed to get one,
Then my question for
that's
you would
their
be,
issue.
can you tow a car without a sticker? Can you do that?
Well, it's
Good idea.
Yeah.
So,
I think the technology, when we're talking about technology, I think the technology committee should be.
Yes, so as far as the,
Because they're the ones that know how far that being.
yeah, so I have it for the fencing as well as gate in the front of Lakeside. We'll review it with the technology today. So I
And
have the
sometimes,
gate there,
if
yeah.
I go to the court early in the morning, sometimes I see on the website, I see, it makes it seem something is going on those court
Yeah.
late at night. So, it's scary.
So don't forget, there's also access from Mirasol onto those courts. People could-
Yeah, they-
Not necessarily drive, people could walk right in.
That's what we see all the
Yeah,
time
so
too.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that fencing, we got that fencing.
Okay, now we're moving on. Non-residents and pickleball using the courts. Solution would be to locking the fence gaming codes, and working cameras.
Okay, so camera.
Gated tennis courts, again, with the locks installed. And the children, kids using the courts for soccer
Yeah,
and riding their scooters on it. Again, we're back to fences.
Yes.
We're back to fences and same thing, cameras.
No, that's,
I think she talked about her kids playing.
we have those courts that make.
Okay, so basically, in this pile, we need higher fences. Yes.
I mean, that last one was one that I put down, I just think I would like to think that there's agreement on the committee that it is, facilities for sports are generally supposed to be single use so that they're maintained for a long time in good condition. And that's as much my point there as anything. There are some solutions that we've already talked about, but there should be signs and there should be a rule that basically says tennis courts are for tennis, pickleballs are for pickleball, basketball courts are for basketball, and we're not playing soccer into the net on the tennis court because it's fun. I'd be curious whether this committee agrees with that.
Yeah,
or
we
whether
had,
agree
we
with
put
that.
out A-frames that said, these courts are specifically for tennis.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And I like that because it's more specific than no pickable here. I know you changed the.
Yeah, we
now
had,
it's good.
yeah, we had to change.
Yeah, I noticed, I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But, we have seen a lot of damage, on the tennis court
Yeah.
because of the.
The
e-bikes.
scooters as well, like, or the soccer, I understand 100%, because when we used to do Food Truck Friday, that's where the kids would go. So, that's our priority, especially Fridays. Danny and I
Yeah,
observed it. We're trying to get our team to focus, whether we have two park monitors, potentially looking at having one just fully stationed there Friday nights, just so they know that we are out and are aware of this.
And the food truck price still are there, I thought they were.
It's tomorrow, it's gonna be at, Lakeside, it got moved back.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, it's a shame, they should, I like it.
What's that?
They do race.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why we're also going back to 1:30.
And the other day, one of them fell and it broke something, bleeding and everything.
Yeah, it's the bikes, the motorized bikes.
That's a shame.
But unfortunately, I know TCDD is dealing with issues with those things.
It's just another benefit.
Because we're gonna be putting the round tables out there, so there's no shade, everything's buffeted at the Great Lawn. So the special events committee, we review doing it on the basketball court. So.
Okay, next topic. I got this one. Not enough courts, in town.
Yep.
Potentially building courts in Island Village. And again, back to Darren to change his contract.
Yep, okay.
I don't know.
There's no room in Island Village. If the courts were built on that day, there isn't.
We just cleared some more land.
Well, I know,
I don't know if it was part of the master plan or not.
yeah, Marco, that's still in the works, correct? The multi-purpose courts?
Yes,
Okay,
they're moving
so,
forward with that, they have the RFP
yeah,
out, maybe next week we have some.
And that's gonna be
some
on
views on
that
the
day.
master plan.
on lot B still, right?
Yeah, lot B.
Okay.
That'll be proposed and lot B is still waiting.
So that's probably the only potential spot, but again, it's multi-purpose courts.
May I suggest when you do the signs, but like, this is not a public use, it's a private use, contact, part and rec, telephone, everything.
So you know what's funny to that? The breezeway of Lakeside says residents only, and you still have people jumping the playground fence.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter how many, that's the problem, is no matter how many times signs I have.
Or residents letting people in.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's
And
why.
even down here, the fences are so low. You know, you can come out at least once a week, and you
When we
can catch
read-
somebody sneezing. Just be slow here.
When we read residents only, they play dumb and say, oh, I'm Osceola resident.
Yeah, that's what, maybe it has to be.
My friend lives down the
Private facility, private facility.
I don't know, we have a lot of problems with the tennis court, I can only imagine pickleball courts, because, that's more like trending now than tennis, so, yeah.
Well-
you need at least the signs or something.
Well,
I
just,
know, yeah.
for everyone that wants to play pickleball, just know that if you wanna bring a coach, this is gonna happen, so.
Well, we're not discussing.
Yeah.
No, so, next one, okay, damage to the courts, solution, more attention to maintenance. And back, still, we're canceling there, hand in hand. Repairs on the courts, damage, and, the solution would be a higher fence.
Okay.
So damage to the courts is a priority.
Sounds like fences, yeah.
This is something.
And that's, what is the solution?
It would be really deep
Like,
right now.
And question, who stated that damage on the courts? It was that about like soccer,
Their
the
e-bikes.
scooters, the bikes, okay.
Kid bar.
They do that in, whatever,
Okay.
they bring us.
You rev it up, oh, they rev it and they leave the.
And then they
I have a picture if you want to see it.
Actually, the drones in the. Okay, burden
That's, it has to be rubber.
Yeah, pretty rubber.
And, but it takes the surface of it.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
They did the same sidecar, like,
Yeah.
it's been good.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about for, 1 and 2? It's towards Marisol, yeah.
And you have, big divot in court three.
I did, okay.
I saw the brush water this week. Good
I
job,
mean,
Dave's one.
I think on court three,
Brush water.
Yeah, they did that for, I know,
Good
too.
job.
Okay, 3 feet. Right, but they said they reported it, so.
Because it's a practice.
Sorry, was that on court 3? The
No,
crack?
two.
Oh, there's a crack.
There's a huge crack, maybe like 3 feet.
yeah, it's just getting
Yes.
Always.
Okay.
I saw that one today. I was gonna take a picture.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, we'll have someone drive by and take pictures, thank you.
Okay, next is the men and ladies. Men and women's clubs shifted to a very late hour for the older, people and the workers. I thought we shifted the ladies club earlier.
So it's for temporary, they're 7 to 9, but they're previously 8:30 to 10:30.
And that was my point,
Yeah.
is that I would just suggest that, I mean, this morning we had 12 women, and we had a couple others who were gonna come, and they said, I won't come because you've already got so many. The early morning hours are really popular. Several of them said specifically they came today, last week, because it started at 7. I would like to propose that you look at that a little bit earlier in the winter, because so many people work. The men, and I'm not just talking the women, I'm talking men and women work. And so starting at 8:30 is really hard for people who are into it, and there's a pretty big roster in both of the clubs for men and women. If noise, if somebody starts to complain, I'd say, let's look really hard at ourselves and say, are we being as quiet as we can? And, talk to both groups and say, look, this is on a provisional basis only, and we're gonna monitor, we're gonna do spot checks the same way we're gonna do for Darren's contract.
Right.
We're gonna make sure you are being quiet in the morning, that you're not cursing.
Well, cursing I definitely agree with.
Yeah, let's hold ourselves responsible.
The sound of schools, I mean, I grew up in New York. I went to the Open all the time. We play tennis all the time. It's noisy.
You can't fix it.
I totally get it.
7 o'clock is, what I'm saying is 7 is the start time in this
You can't do
county.
it.
And you're on
Yes.
property before
Like a 7 to 9.
So to 7, we're not trying to change
I
what's
agree.
allowable, we're just saying, could this group of men and women play?
Yeah,
So quick question for you, so, and for everybody.
Yeah.
So if we move to courts 4 and 5, right, which are farther away from residential areas, right?
Yep.
So I mean, like that would solve many noise issues, right?
I said it too.
Yeah, well, then Darren has to do 1 and 2 for, I mean, like, Alan's.
Right. Okay, one at a time.
Let's bring up answer real quick. So for the previous committee, wanted Darren on 4 and 5, the reason was when he had court 3 on Tuesdays and Thursday nights for kids, that's what the understanding was, they can walk over to the restrooms That's why, because he had 3 courts for safety concerns. Now, if it gets condensed to 2 courts, that's something that we could potentially review.
So that will be great, but my other question would be, is this a place to please the residents or to play during or wherever? Because again, we're the priority. How come we come out of our comfort zone and we have to pay a pro teacher traveling an hour to USDA or 30 or 40 minutes when we should have that privilege?
I totally understand.
I mean, if this is a community and which we know it's great, I don't have any complaint, I have nothing against the broad here. I'm just saying this should be peace for our people who are the residents. So
Right,
it's a priority matter.
right, and I have to look at
What time do they want the innovation?
the, like 7, 7, and 9. Because they're 8:30 to 10:30 with the exception of June, July, and August, they're 7 to 9. Now, as a parent though, if I was a resident, well, I mean, I lived here many years, but if I had kids, I don't have kids, but if I had them on courts 1 and 2 and I dropped them off as a resident for Darren's class, how would you feel having your kid walk by themselves? Like maybe that's something.
on Darren, that's on
Yeah.
the safety,
I
once the
totally- I
kids
would
drop
think
off
that
there,
I would
it's on
probably.
Darren.
Okay, so I have to
I
look at both ways though, as a
There.
resident, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's on the parent to.
Yeah,
have-
okay.
I'm not.
Kids in those classes in the morning anyway, in the winter.
Oh, no, yes, and we're within the evening classes, you know.
Yeah, I think
So it's
that,
just something I have to think of too.
yeah, I think if you're comfortable dropping your kid and leaving, and there's no one else watching, you're assuming, you probably signed that you're comfortable with a coach or someone
Okay.
walking them to the bathroom, not walking. I'd be more concerned if they're walking them around. And
Right,
leaving up
well,
to
that's
like
what I was
pre-teen
saying.
age with people driving and.
So maybe potentially included in the updated contract
Yeah.
that they have to have an additional person for kids, you know what I mean? If we move them to Portland, et cetera, so. Yeah, especially with the e-bikes and stuff,
Yes.
that would just be the concern.
Yeah, but Nikki, the senior groups that play in the morning, like we're playing 7 till 9 now, we don't want to lose courts 1 and 2 because there is some shade on courts 1.
Because that's
And
a issue.
it makes a big difference, so we have no interest in moving to courts 4 and 5, because that's full sun the whole time, you know? and-
Although there is a shade structure in the middle, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not.
That's something I'm gonna review.
But-
Okay.
But yeah, so those two things.
I mean, you know, I fought with you for years to
Yeah.
keep them courts, but the group.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the last question, section, because we need to move on to the programs.
It's a good heads up,
So you're gonna keep 7 to
it's a
9?
good heads up.
That they're until August as a committee,
And then
when
we
we
can
can
review it
vote,
then.
we can review the 7 to 9 next month. So I appreciate y'all. And we can look
Okay.
at the events. What are we doing for the ladies?
The last
We'll do
one
events.
is dedicating more hours to residents, which we were just speaking about, and excessive allocation of court time, which is back to Darren. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
You know,
How's
how's that
hour.
Wi-Fi looking like?
1 hour, we're gonna move on now.
So what we'll do is, as a committee, I wrote down what's an easy, middle, and high task request. It's gonna be shared with the committee, and then I'm passing it to Marco as the board liaison, so at least the board's aware of our progress. If there's something that's easy and fixable as management, we'll be more than happy to do. In the meantime, myself, Danny, and our team members will be more cautious with Darren's contract, as well as reviewing the tennis courts as a priority. So I appreciate you all coming out. Please don't think that this is over. We'll have another workshop. Just expect it in September, okay?
Nikki, I
September.
have a question, because you said if we see a lot of people there, we can call a number. At least my experience and Claire was with me, they're so afraid to approach Darren.
Yeah, so this is a different number. This is
Like,
not,
how many people?
this is not the park monitors. This will be Mayberry. So if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah.
Alright,
Oh,
Okay, they're not
So
in
these are
partnership
our-
with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you want
So,
to put it
well-
directly in your phones.
so I'm gonna call.
Oh, you're gonna share their number, right?
I'm gonna share right now, so this is,
All right,
Yeah,
Dan,
sure.
let the ladies get their phones out.
alright guys, this is the Mayberry security that we have that is 24/7. Even though they're not 24/7, you can call this number. Each location that we have has an ID, so if you call and say, I need help at this ID area, but you can just say tennis court, or hey, we're right by the pool at Lakeside, whatever it is, but you can do this number real quick. But this is the ones that will, if they're not on call, they will call the non-emergency for you, but you will get a response. I have the number, it's okay.
I have it in my phone. I think.
You got it? I did take a picture, it came out of mine, because I'm touching.
Oh,
Right, I got it.
okay.
All right, ladies and gents, so any issues, you call this number and Mayberry will arrive, and they will not be afraid to approach anybody. It'll be, number is 888 296 2923. Again, if you lose your phone, you forget the number, don't worry, it's at every pool that we have, Crow Pool that we have here.
I'm sure it's on the
What's the
website.
idea?
Each location has
It's
an ID, this is
posted.
exact.
It's posted, I did tell Danny that we're gonna double check, make sure that they posted on the tennis court.
And the magazine.
And that magazine, yeah, that's something, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Magazine, yeah.
It was in the magazine,
Hey, what, you said what?
the Mayberry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
did.
There you go, okay. But you could also email us at townhall@Ceramel, and then we will give you that number too. if you
Karen
guys-
Nicky, 1 a.m. in the morning.
So as a committee members, is there anything else that you all want to discuss about action item or discussion item 1? Anything else you want to bring up?
I have lots of technical questions, just still looking at the contract.
Okay, yeah. So that will be a specific, workshop about the contract. But thank you all, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Next discussion.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you all.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
I just wanted to say, I called the number right now and they don't answer. You get on.
Okay.
We have a
Did you all try to call at the same time? Danny could assist us with the number. Appreciate it.
So they got.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Bye, good seeing you.
Okay, that
Well, that
was.
wasn't too bad, okay.
Just to let you know, I've been going through this since 2021.
And it's not normal.
No, so it's a very, well, that's why it's a workshop, it's a very passionate, topic.
Always has been.
So nobody was getting beat up tonight.
Nobody got beat up. Nobody in the audience got rude
No, everybody was really nice.
or overly aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I
No,
get it.
it's gone.
But we can't pick apart the contract here because this isn't the place and the time to
That's,
pick apart the
yeah,
contract.
and that's why I said we
And I
can't.
also think, when you think of, when the contract was signed, you were probably coming out of COVID, you're looking at bringing in revenue. It's now a time to assess, is it actually making money, or is it contributing enough? And
And now is the time, because
Yes.
in a couple of months,
Yes.
and that's.
A lot of it too is you didn't want to have high quality programs in the town.
Yeah.
Like soccer, it's a great program. Tennis, it is a good program. I mean, I know all the things that go along with it, and residents actually do really like it.
Well,
There's a lot of people that like
I'm
it.
looking at for like tennis lessons,
Yeah,
and
he's
usually
very-
there's hard to get into,
Yeah.
and there's not as much availability, so.
But I get their point too.
I get the concern is too, as a resident, if you wanna do tennis lessons for your kids, you wanna drive to like, no, you know what I mean? So we have to find a way to accommodate, but like Mike said, we want a high quality, do we wanna just do lessons twice a week? That's something that.
Yeah. And also too, like, if it's, if like the community that we have, we should have that kind of like reputation, but again, having people come from the different places.
Yeah. Seriously, we just need on the schedule.
So,
Okay, we keeping all these lovely notes, do you want me to keep them? You want me to
yes,
keep them?
I'm gonna follow up, and I'm gonna send to the whole committee, so you all know the easy, middle, and high requests.
Stuff too
Just
is
sheer
the morning.
curiosity, I know
Yeah.
it's one of the topics here,
Yeah.
but I remember going to a workshop a while ago, and the Mayberry that we just come on board, has the parties at Spring Lake stopped? Like, we haven't heard
They will
anything.
never
They've
stop.
never, but like the,
There's still, I have not heard, there are 2 or 3 residents that we used to get weekly conversations.
That's.
I haven't heard them as much.
Because after hearing, I was
Mark
right back.
would come a lot, Mark would witness a lot.
Yeah, I haven't heard the residents who do express concerns call Danny or myself. I could be wrong, I could ask Danny when he comes in, but I think they've been tracking it down. Because when we have 2 park monitors, it's to the point where residents are asking, why are you checking? You just checked it 5 minutes ago. Which was something good to hear, that means they're doing.
Oh, I've been checked. I was in hospital court like last week, 3 times they got, it was 2 different people. I was like,
Yeah. So
But
that's
it's more of a,
Yeah.
like, it seems to be doing its job, and I drive by on like a Saturday morning on the way back from.
And season's still young.
Yes, yes, yeah, I know, I'm
Well, that goes with the little.
Lakeside.
Okay, so the next one is the Lakeside playground.
Okay, did everyone have a chance to review?
I have the different books up here, if you want to go through individually, if there's a specific book, I can go through it as well.
They are very large, I will tell you.
Yeah, they are.
LSI and then, I think it was on more. I said one down.
Right here.
See, and I liked Burke Early Childhood for some very
Was it
specific.
this one?
One more back, sorry.
Oh, one more.
intense. That,
This one?
yeah. I think I was liking the sun structure, but this is very intense, no.
How about this specific purpose?
Yes,
Okay,
that
yeah.
structure at Lakeside would be fantastic.
That would be
Yeah, I know we have that at North Village, that would be
Yes.
fantastic, to have, so it seems like on our wish list, a structure is definitely needed, I think
Yeah.
that's. Okay.
And ideally, has the ground been, like, some sort of reviews that don't know that there's not the slab that existed at Long Meadow?
Oh, no, it would have to be reviewed, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like the wish list, what I'd like to see.
I was like, ground penetration.
Yes, they're
That's
gonna
what I
have
was
to-
looking for. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I liked the sun structures here.
The shades.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Because they also seem tall, like, they seem to cover a lot, but also they're up higher than.
Oh, sure, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool playground. The thing is, are we looking kind of for like a jungle gym kind of playground? Do you guys want them to like have like a climbing effect? Do we want it to look identical to another location like Spring Park, or do we want these to be unique? So what's at Spring Park is not gonna be at Lakeside.
Is there a budget?
Well, right now, this is the wish list. That's going to the master plan.
Well,
So our goal is tonight is to have a budget, or not budget, I'm sorry, have a wish list to give to the master plan group so they can start reviewing it.
Such a small footprint of a park
Very small.
compared. I don't know whether swings would, I know people will probably be upset if they get taken away. I just think that you could put more, that more children could use than just
Okay.
2 swings. And it takes up, because you need to have the space in front and back.
Sure. So I guess we can start with this picture then, Stephanie. So I know everything's different, but, okay, so I understand what you're saying. The swings, it does take up a lot of room for safety reasoning. But, I love the shade structure, but what can go underneath the shade structure? Kind of like a slide, is a slide required, right?
A slide, but not the slide that's there right now, that's.
Yeah, so,
It's a little slope.
The one that doesn't have sides.
Oh,
That's
God,
fine.
so.
yeah, that's a safety
Yeah.
issue.
That's
Not
fine.
again.
That has
Oh,
been
that's so
removed.
easy.
I think we have to
Gone for
look
over
at
a
things
year.
with inclusivity,
They didn't take the.
or perhaps a swing
From
from
the side,
similar to this.
going down head first, so.
Oh, if you wanna kind of share with
Okay.
the group.
A swing similar to this.
Yep.
There was also, I don't know where it is in here, it's a net swing, but a smaller one.
Oh,
I would just say I didn't follow those kinds of swings properties and you'll get 10 kids on it at once, jumping. They're nice. Like jumping on and swinging.
The tires.
Big swings, like,
Tires.
Yeah.
it's gotta be 1 seat swings that we're gonna put.
Myself, I would
It would
like,
be like a mini park.
like they have the music,
Yes.
the chimes.
Sensors.
And drum, yeah, they have like, the xylophone, and they also have drums and other things.
Is there any theming? I guess that if you built off of that as a theme, that we would be able to tie into what celebration.
Or-
we wanted.
1, maybe 2 of swings of this nature. With a mom and a baby
unfortunately, teenagers who are.
Oh,
That's-
That's the problem, swings.
So, I put the same thing, but I'm like, what, wouldn't that be really nice?
As a parent who's trying to have the kids, when they were younger, I would like a structure where that can just go and there's seating for the parents. And just,
Yes.
that's kind of, I think, that's kind of the direction we should go in.
Yeah.
Move
Oh,
the things,
No.
that's really.
Or,
It's-
slides maybe
Not
like
like
the douche
The
slide.
thing, you can bring that wheelchair
This,
on
we
the.
also have another one that, 4 kids can go at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a footprint and it saves
Yeah.
your
Yeah, we
steering
put it
well.
together.
Okay.
There's something you can wheel
That
wheelchair
was more
on,
for
and
like
it goes back and forth.
No,
I do like the idea.
We made a big thing about that, and making it so that children that are in a wheelchair physically.
This footprint.
That's in it too. Heritage, and the,
No, yeah, I don't think anything swinging or
Yeah,
movable.
Yes.
do you wanna also, like, so, we can maybe base it off, there's gonna be a splash pad. Right, a splash pad is maybe accessible for all. I'm thinking potentially more focus on like the ADA accessibility, so maybe kind of like what you said.
Yes, I
sensory,
saw that too.
have
That would be really
things like this. Because it's gonna be a little bit easier for them to access
Much easier.
versus
Yes.
Spring Park or a different location.
Yeah, but I like this music. Again, I like the xylophone type of thing. Or the drums.
Yeah.
That seemed, in Animal Kingdom, that's the popular spot to be.
they like the drums, yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that up, so Stephanie, I like your idea, like having a theme with it. So
Yeah.
is there a specific theme, like I was trying to go off, well, there's splash pad there, like what else?
What theme would go
I
down
like music.
water?
I actually think that you put out, because it's like,
I'm a little partial to it too.
And that's a great idea because it's not in a residential area. You're
Yep.
not gonna hear it from Carlisle,
No.
you shouldn't
You're
hear
gonna
it,
get complaints from Marisol.
you know.
But,
But,
still be melodic.
I hope.
That's pretty cool
Choose
too.
structure, because you know what? That doesn't need to be shaded.
yeah, that's true.
I
I like quiet music.
It's plain and simple.
We had a nice one
That's a
in
board
Boston,
meeting.
that's outside.
Yeah, that's.
Special.
Special.
Yeah, we did.
We're gonna fry your hand, we go ahead and do it.
They were making cake.
The xylophone, they had the drums, they had,
Oh.
the slides that are at North Village are nice, I know that they don't feel great for adults, but, the ones with the rollers.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw that too.
pretty cool too.
It's East
Oh,
Village.
you saw, yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And
And
then,
that's the acoustic play as well.
I kind of like a learning aspect, so it's like the anatomy of a bee, so
Yes,
maybe
I
like
like
the
that too.
music, so it's like the different, maybe.
So educational.
Educational.
And that's a climbing
program, too.
structure as well as educational and to work with music.
So you can bring all our cornerstones right into
Yeah.
that playground.
So now that we kind of have a topic, kind of like a music theme, so maybe we can kind of work together, like as a homework assignment with the committee, is like, maybe each committee member picks 1 or 2 things that, in a perfect playground, if it's a music playground, what can we do? And then we can, give it to them, but what's your next?
Here's mine.
Sorry?
Cross-border means next week, they didn't say this, but I believe it's next week. But
Yeah, I
We had a workshop yesterday, maybe.
See, I did it easy when there was so many pages to go through and I was looking
Mother
through my
means
notes.
Thursday is next
That's
week.
Thursday next
I
week.
can, so I can check right
The
now.
hanging chimes, yes.
Is everything attached?
Yes.
Is anything on there gonna disappear?
No.
you'd have to.
Unless you cry it covers.
That's what I'm saying, because we have some
Pretty strong.
pretty strong kids.
No,
that
no.
go in
No,
there.
I think they have to physically have
Crowbar.
something.
Because that's really nice.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And you have like the xylophone type of look and then you have the chimes that are not hanging.
That is actually fun.
Yes.
Yes.
That is a lot of fun.
That's pretty unique.
Because
We had
that's
that
almost
down
like
at
that
Solid.
thing
They
that
have
you
that.
go,
Oh, yeah. Because you could have the kids, so it's more for arm strength.
Yeah,
So
I
the
like
kids would be
that.
able to come out of a wheelchair,
Is that-
they're in rehab, it's all.
I actually like that, so you don't have kids running up and down the slide.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of similar to like music in a way, you know what I mean? So-
Yeah.
and we can, you can say music, because we have our music concert.
Growing on.
Like,
Oh, I love that,
Put it
yeah.
all together.
Yeah.
That's a
All
cool thing.
together.
Nikki, June 25th will be next board meeting, and master plan is a TBD.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, can I just, put something on camera? I was out there, we called Mayberry, they answered, just give me
Oh,
that.
okay.
So call that number, we're fine, let's put that out there.
I think they
Hey,
called at the same time.
I just put it out there.
I mean, they're on it.
So yeah, so
Yeah, that
this packet specifically about like a STEM program too, so like what we said.
Yeah.
But I think this would be great too, and tie in maybe like an, one or two items. I think moving forward in every playground, we should have one or two items accessible for every kid to use.
Yes.
Exactly right.
And that roller one, well,
I actually love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
That was on my
That would
list
be
too.
probably a shade structure to be under.
You would have that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that would be
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
This I'm a little bit concerned with, like stuff like this, because people.
No,
break
that's a
it, yeah.
rule.
And like you all were saying, we have to find something that's not gonna be ripped apart, that we have to replace. Because this guy survived at least like 5 years.
Well, that's even, there was,
Years ago, when I was a young girl.
we had a cement turtle in our elementary school. We love that turtle to this day. Everybody who goes to school, because we can climb on it, we sat on it. It was great. They have something similar in here in the playground plastic.
Out right there.
So,
The red circle.
I believe, probably, yeah, it's LSI, it's the LSI catalog on page 37.
I'm sorry, where?
In the LSI catalog on page 37.
I'm sorry, do you know which one?
This way, that way, it must be something.
No, but I know the page.
Maybe.
Go for 37.
Just close your eyes for a second.
And it might be on the next one, because that just says 5 to 10.
Represent the turtles.
Oh, they're around there somewhere. Oh, right there, the turtle. It's cute.
Wait,
And
is there something like that in North Village?
They have that, yeah, there's like, there's something similar to
the
it.
top part of North Village, not the older side.
No,
Yeah, it's on the right side, it's like a little tunneling.
Yes.
I would probably prevent having those again. We have a lot of teenagers that just hide in there
Yeah.
and do stuff they're not supposed to.
Okay.
So that's why maybe we can avoid something like that.
All right, no time to like critters, not to.
I think also something to review, that's cute as well, is, at Lakeside, Danny and I have witnessed a 9-foot gator inside, because they can, climb those fences, so I think we have to be cautious about and what's gonna be on the ground.
Yeah.
Can there also, I get scared sometimes when I go to Lakeside. Is there any way around the fence? I guess you would have to bring ARC into it, or whatever. Putting a 1-foot netting around the entire structure of the fence to keep the snakes, to prevent kind of the snake from.
What if you like put it under, like, at the bottom of it?
Yeah, like 1 foot, he has it down in Artisan, it's like a 1-foot netting around the fence where the pool is. It doesn't keep all the snakes out, no, but it helps.
Big deterrent.
Sounds good right there, look at that.
Yeah, the
Open air,
agility, yeah.
Climbing.
So do we want a playground that's kind of mixture for both, like 6 and under as well as 7 to 10? Or 7 to 12, I mean, you know, or like what's kind of the target audience we're looking at?
I think 6 to 10 is probably, what was the first age, 6?
There's 2 sides, right?
It's like 6 and under as well as 7 and 12.
Well, the little,
Okay.
those little things are playing in a splash pad.
So, okay, so we have to ensure that
They'd be
it's
able to do the
accessible.
slide.
Oh, yes.
They'd be able to do the slide.
So I think this is kind of like a Ninja Warrior thing.
I like that.
Yes,
It'd be
the
pretty
climbing
cool.
hills, I saw those.
Like on one side for the older kids and the younger kids, are we thinking about more music? So
Yeah.
music thing on one side and.
Yeah.
Accessibility.
I mean, haven't been a parent for 30 years, but me personally, I don't like the nets. Mine always fell
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Or through it.
Or they have other hills that are more like rock
Mine is
climbing.
on scaling at less than 2 at the top,
Yeah.
so I'm like,
As long as there's stuff for upper body, I feel like I'm watching more and more playgrounds with stuff for upper body.
Oh, like the hang.
Like, yes, it's just not
Monkey bars.
Just
Monkey
bars.
bars, those
Monkey bars are hard to come by.
Yeah.
They
You don't
are,
see-
yeah.
You don't see kids using them as much.
Yeah.
But that's like one of the
Oh, there you go.
first things.
Like,
Like,
something like
Crossing.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade.
Yes.
I like that, that's that really, that Ninja
Yeah.
Warrior.
That's great, because that's for an older kid, a
they're
little
not
kid
gonna-
can't get on that,
Yeah.
and you don't have.
They don't have to like lift them up, little kid up, they're not gonna be able to get it.
I think we have to make sure when someone walks in, it's definitely differentiated between young kids versus older
Yeah.
kids. So I like this Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can't break that.
Man, here's like the little play cubes too, like that could be good with the music too.
Yes.
Spinner and all that.
You could also serve, if the little one needs a little, I need Sunworks Central Week.
Yeah.
That would be quiet time for a
Yep.
minute. Well, I don't remember what catalog it had it, but they even had it like there was an Air Force kind of looking or an airplane kind of thing. And then it came, and one of these catalogs in Georgia.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah.
That's a big slide.
That's a good point too. Yeah, so like double, like 2 or 3 people can go down.
I was like, it's either just.
There is one with 4,
That's pretty cool too, like.
but, and there's this one too, the luge slide.
The luge slide. So you climb up the middle?
Yeah.
They have that in, Long Meadow now.
Pretty cool.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh, no, they have that at Lakeside. One side
Oh,
has,
okay, I haven't been for a while.
yeah, one side has that little step thing and the other side's nice.
I like the rock climb as well.
Yes,
That-
like
that's
this,
just
I
a
like,
rock
that's see with
climb.
the little military thing.
Where it's not, where the kid can get their, like legs stuck in
Yeah.
the previous structure
Yeah.
at Spring Park. You had a kid climb up and then it's great for them to get back down. At least this is a
Yeah.
little bit easier for them to come down.
When we're looking at the.
And I'm sure there could be a slide on the other
playground,
side.
Are they gonna keep the landscaping the way it is with mulch and, or are they gonna?
Well, that's something that we can talk about as well. I think, I'm personally not a fan of the mulch, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, the turf makes it even harder.
The synthetic turf?
Oh, it makes it so
So the fact that
hard.
it's an angle down and then.
Yeah, it has to be like-
That it's like, something needs to be looked at, I don't know, and it all mulches up in like 1 or 2 places, it seems like.
There were also slides that came down and then kind of like hit a platform,
Mm-hmm.
so that the little butts kind of stopped and then it didn't like into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Lauren confirmed that it'll be a full tear out for the landscaping. So this may be an opportunity to review, like leveling, I do agree, it needs to be leveled, because when you,
This is cool.
it's not even safe for wheelchairs to go, it's like a huge ramp. And
And
the
the water, all the water kind of,
yeah,
like it feels lower than the lake, I know it's not, but it feels.
it
like
does,
it's
yeah. I think it would be great for it to be leveled.
What kind of ground is that? Like, that's in
It's
theme park.
almost like
Right.
rubber.
That's the rubber that's kind of like,
They have it
they
at
have it at-
big
It's
ones.
like a court, but a rubber.
yeah, that may be something that we can review.
That is
That would be
awesome
good.
because it doesn't make it as hot
Yeah.
as the turf
And it
does.
doesn't shift
It
around.
Makes it so.
Yeah.
We have to think that kids are gonna run from the splash pad to this.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not gonna
there's
be
grass.
open, is it?
Well, the other thing with that floor is that you could damage it too.
Oh,
You run
people
into
want
it,
to take it.
they can pick at it, their cleats.
That's not, I believe it's very similar to the splash pad, format
Yeah.
as well.
But wheelchairs could go through the turf.
Wheelchair, well, wheelchair, I think it'd be a little bit difficult for a wheelchair with the turf, but I mean,
Is it
You-
any
you
less
have
difficult
some-
with the mulch?
it's difficult for mulch with a wheelchair.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, the one, yeah.
So maybe, like, I do like the rubber flooring, and it goes with the theme of the splash pad, you know.
But there's not gonna be it's gonna be a completely separate entrance.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be able to go from
In
the
between.
splash pad to the playground.
no, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be able to, but I like how we can theme it off of each other.
Color-wise.
Color-wise, yeah. I'll provide photos of the, we have pictures of the splash pad, so I'll send you all the pictures. So that way everybody can see what it looks like the color-wise, and we can kind of go from there. But are we not into, so I know the smaller, like, we talked about that, monument corridor, or like the slide that pushes. Do you also wanna look into like a slide like this? Or we already have that at Spring Park, like maybe a smaller one?
Are we restricted by how high it can go? Just for
That's
knowing
a
it's
great
downtown
question.
and what it has to look like in order to.
I don't think so, because it's not at the front, there's
Yeah.
kind of like that building blocking it, but you're more restricted for like a shade structure. I think that's the only thing.
Okay.
And it's gonna be still divided by the two light bulbs that are in the middle of the playground?
Or to have those, if they're gonna,
I
if
know.
they're gonna
Yeah,
compare flat, put them on the outside, not in the middle.
Yeah, it would be great if we could move them. There's no restrictions on height.
Okay.
And delete the lights. No, she said and delete the lights.
Move the lights, yeah.
Move the lights.
Oh, yeah, what she said, delete, that's what we did. Are we getting rid of lights? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Okay, so I think we're in a good spot, with the theme and whatnot. So, like I was mentioning, if we can get at least 2 ideas, maybe by next week, just go back and forth in an email, just a wish list of 2 committee members each. I think we can kind of start there. But it sounds like we want, structure, obviously, the ground is maybe the rubber flooring, so I don't think we should further look into it, that's just something that we're gonna let them know. Sensory, music, and determining what kind of like slide, like the monument corridor, and then as well as maybe we can do 1 playground equipment for kids and 1 for older kids.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's what's there now, pretty much.
Yeah, so that's what I shared with both. Do you have any other direction for us to go tonight with this? That's kind of the starting point for
I
us.
love the idea to the playground, we need it, we need a lot. Maybe we can recommend other sports like lawn sports or another court besides pickleball, whatever. I believe we need basketball court for sure because.
I'm sorry, I'm only talking about playground. Sorry, I'm only talking about playground, I'm sorry.
Playground.
Only
No,
playground.
I'm sorry, only playground, sorry, yeah. For now, is there anything else, that?
It is perfect. I like the yellow key. And we can also add location suggestions.
For the playground?
For the playground.
I thought it was just
If we have,
specific.
if we, of course, if you have plans, we can also do the codes and everything, and we can like send it as a package. Because they are building the master plan advisory group is setting up the RFP and everything.
Wait, are you talking about for the playgrounds, or you're talking about Lakeside in general?
In general, because right now it's done, right? The RFP is out for the.
You're talking about the multi-sports?
Yes.
Okay.
Right,
This
we're just talking
is
about
probably
the
for
inside.
2026 or 27.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
goal
for
is
the
to get this started.
But
so-
once we are addressing what we need for the future, we can also put a basketball court, one more, more,
I
more
agree, but
dedicated for each
Just
sport.
dealing with just Lakeside Park at this moment.
If it's only for Lakeside, that's fine.
Yeah, Lakeside Playground.
Yeah.
My
Lakeside.
suggestion is when you send to Lakeside, send also to East Village, North Village, send like a package. It's more easy to approve some than say, okay, not this time.
Oh, you're
You
talking
can't
about
do it all in
different,
one, like,
for a
different
different playground?
No, I get
Okay,
it,
that's
but.
what you-
I
Yeah.
think this
Different
was the issue
playground,
that
different,
would
like,
be
we are putting the playground for Lakeside. Maybe a court in North Village, maybe something in East Village. My suggestion is when we send something, send it as a package,
Okay,
because they're going to approve some. So if you send one, you have 50-50. If you like a package, it'll be more easy to approve.
Yeah, and
But make it available.
okay.
What other things are we trying to put in said package?
So right now, playground, exactly.
Okay.
And then we'll go to the next topic. I don't want to confuse anybody, so playground first, yeah, I got it.
The only other thing on this, knowing that this is the only gated playground that we have, I think looking at what the actual setup is and what the gate options are, because there has to be something better than what we have currently, and it is hard when you have little kids and they're trying to even run up to the gate, like, I'm not saying put 2 gates, either make it distracting to come in, like, come in through a gate, have metal, then you go off to the sides, because it's probably like the dog park, that you're worried about kids coming out with you.
So are you saying like a double, yeah, like a double door?
Yeah.
So I got you.
It's just, it also would stop people yelling at you, to let them in, or kids are trying to be helpful, they're trying, and they
Well,
just
that's
want
actually
to
a great
press them.
idea, yeah.
Like, so some sort of double gate
Like a
sounds intense,
barrier.
but something
Like
that.
they have in the dog park.
Yes, yeah.
I know.
It's not that if you
No,
want
it's-
kids from climbing.
Well, no,
But they're letting other
It's-
kids in, or they're letting other people in. and
because
it's
at the
becoming
dog park,
awkward around
you're more
people.
separate.
Yeah.
So that way, if someone's yelling over the fence, you're like, what's that?
I'm
I
watching
can't
my
hear you.
kid.
Yeah,
Like,
so, right.
Yeah.
versus,
No, I like that.
the stories of how aggressive people are, you're trying to break into a playground. It's not,
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
yeah, so, but that was just the gate options on, or entrance, of like, is there a better, more efficient way?
Good thought. Maybe we can also look at as a team with this package is a different gate, not just a front gate, but an actual gate structure.
Yeah.
Because Danny and I have seen people like climb over the fence, like it's, I think it's time to potentially look at a new one.
Mhm.
Electrify it, like.
Barbed wire.
And then there was an event going on that night that people had a dog in there.
Mhm.
It's like you don't bring a dog in that playground, a big dog, not even a little dog.
That could traumatize some little ones.
But, okay, so I think we're at a great start with the lake center. I'm pretty excited,
So
Even Danny and
it's
I
gonna
will
be
get out.
music?
theme is music, yeah, music in the park. Look at that.
Music and color to match display.
Yep.
Well, we.
Color coordinated.
Well, color coordinated, but there's supposed to be like a certain color that we're supposed to go with, like.
Rainbow, I
We
say.
were talking
I
about
think
spring park.
It's like a lot of colors.
I mean, I don't know how, I know when we were talking about spring park and approved that the,
I think Lauren just sent it to me. Yep, Lauren just sent it to me, so let me put it up on the screen. Just disregard those from messages. Sometimes we have moments. Okay, so here's kind of like,
that's the slide.
but
Is that
that's
the-
the splash pad.
Now, is there water that comes down that slide?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Yeah, the top right here, Celia.
No, down the slide.
Yeah, the red.
Right here, there's water as well as up here.
Those have.
So it comes, so while the children are going down the slide, there's water on the slide.
She's talking about the slide itself, right? You
There's-
climb and you slide, so yeah.
But they're sliding into the.
Yes, the water comes down,
Yeah,
as
is it-
well as the rings move,
Isn't
or
it,
the rings are moved, sorry.
isn't it splash pad on the big slide?
So it looks like we got like some bright colors going on. Maybe we could theme the floor
Looks like
like
water
to
right
the blue
Mm-hmm.
style. I think we should just look for maybe rubber that it doesn't like, it reflects off the sun, so it's not, so it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah, so it doesn't absorb the heat.
Yeah. But those are kind of the color choices. I'll send this in an email to the committee, so it looks like we have like a very,
It's a rainbow.
yeah,
The only thing that's lacking is purple.
And orange.
it got one little orange.
Oh,
You got a little sprayer?
Okay, there is a little, well, that might be
Little
pink.
purple too?
Well, down there, it looks like.
I think, okay.
Purple.
Lauren, I know you're on this call. Is the playground gonna be close enough where those squirters at the bottom, can they launch and hit people from the playground? Cause that's like a good distance.
No, they will not.
No, okay, thank you.
So when the kids come down.
There's like 6 feet between the edge of the splash pad and where the gate is now for the kiddie pool. And the way the rings are pictured in that image, they've been moved since then. So when a kid comes down the slide, there's not a kid running through the rings straight at the slide. So we've moved a little bit of things since that picture, but just so you had a color image.
So the water that's coming down the slide, where does it go when it's coming down the slide?
Onto the
What do you mean?
ground.
Well, there's a drain in the middle.
There's a drain, right?
Yeah, there'd be a drain, yeah.
There's drains throughout.
Okay, only because I was at Duck Pig and they have those slides, but there's like a box
Standing.
where the kids go into a box, like the water doesn't lead.
So it's like.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's gonna look nice.
thank you, Lauren, appreciate it.
Okay, so we have time to move on?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to move on to item 3, review the Pro ID guest policy.
Yeah, that would be good.
You include Okay, so. Next up, the hot topic. You want to lead off on
Yes,
this
sure.
one?
So right now, the ID policy is a 1-to-4 ratio. So 1 pass gives you 4 additional guests. So Danny has a household of 4 participants. So he can technically bring in 16 guests right now. We're having a lot of issues at the pools, tennis courts, as well as basketball court, where people are bringing 20, 30 guests and they have enough Crow cards. When there's graduations, there are 60 kids at a pool, and when our team goes around and checks, people have the lanyards and go, here's all the people, because they're teachers that are residents in town. But there's other residents that are getting annoyed by it, so they're calling Danny and I. That's why we had additional security, to start checking IDs. With phase 2 coming up with Island Village, and there's a couple more phases after that, I think it's time we need to review this guest policy. To determine if we want to stick to the 1-to-4 ratio, and if residents are continuously complaining about that, it's, I'm sorry, this is the rules, or potentially reviewing a 1-to-2 ratio, so just lower it.
Can you think of another option and just make it 4 per household?
So I did that
Or
too.
per
We thought of, maybe 6, no more than 8 per household, depending on the amount of people. I'm happy with 6. I'm also happy with the 2 guests to 1 resident.
Yeah, but then how do you gauge if I have 2 IPs? How does that guy know that that's not part of another house? Because there's no address on the cards. So the household thing would be in the
Well,
water.
that's where technology, is supposed to come in and was discussed quite a few times. That when Catherine goes through and, she uses her ID and her husband comes through with 6 people or 4 people, 5 people later, a red flag would go up and say, that home has already entered.
Yeah, has come in one. And
Has
then,
come in
but then
with-
she can just as easily go to the gate, open it for the 5, and he walks
No, not gate,
Or whatever.
we're talking about
in, whatever.
events.
I mean, it's.
So, but this has to be, so our policy, the 1-to-4, is basically for the amenities. I can't think about the events on
Okay.
it, because they have
Got it.
different rules.
Right.
But I know the special events committee will kind of go off of what we're doing, because I want to keep it simple. Laura and I were talking to keep it simple. The simpler we make it, and it's easier for everyone to understand, the quicker this could potentially be improved.
I think the easiest thing is 2 to 1. That's it, it's clean.
Absolutely.
And then all you're really trying to do is deter. You're not gonna, it's not gonna be perfect, you're always gonna be really good, but you're just trying to keep honest people honest. Now, like, let's be realistic, if you're a resident and your sister comes in from Colorado and she has 3 kids and you go to the pool, no one's gonna mess with you, right? They're not gonna come and check like that. Now,
They can also go buy a guest pass.
Yeah.
they could, but then if I'm here for 2 days, do I
I've
wanna go
done
do
that, I've had
I've
outside
done it too.
Pennsylvania where I've had to pay $10 for each person that's going in the pool.
And I did it for my friends who come in from Europe. I mean, that's.
And that gas pass, they can go without you, that's basically what I'm saying.
Oh, that'd be the other thing, you have to be with the
Yes, the Crow ID, so Danny has an ID and I'm his guest, he's got to be with me at
He's
all
got
times.
that.
He drops me
So
off.
that's the rule now anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
I
I'm
just-
just cutting the amount that you can bring.
I just say you go 2 to 1, because it's just a psychological thing, if you're on the court, tennis, whatever, I can only do 2.
Yep.
It'll maybe be a 50%, improvement from what they do now, So I think 2 to 1, easy, clean,
I agree, 100%.
right, and that way everybody keeps.
4 to 1, 1-to-4. How long?
It's been since celebration's been.
But you have to understand, we have over 1,800
Yeah.
apartment units now since celebration was created. Since actually 2014, those 1,800 apartment units have been built. And
Island
you
Village?
consider, right, well, you have these, the people that live in the apartments are entitled to use our amenities.
Absolutely.
We're not entitled to use their amenities.
Which,
And there
in
could
the
be
future,
5 and
that
6
should be
people
looked
in one apartment unit,
For-
so
Yeah.
it's like 30 people.
It's difficult to see for these apartments because they're within Island Village, but the apartments that are on the boulevard, I personally feel that they should not be able to use the amenities to the town.
So this is where it gets sticky, that's why our last meeting,
Yeah.
it's all or nothing, so.
But then vice versa, the residents in town should be able to use theirs.
It's not
What's
built
good
into,
for one
I know,
is
it's
good
not
for
built
another.
into
It
our.
doesn't always happen that way.
And they pay a separate association
Yeah,
to don't pay, so,
they pay,
just, yeah, it's
I'm
gonna, it's
take
gonna
my
be great.
choice and
Yeah.
everything.
100%.
When would we roll it in? When would you want it effective?
I don't think mid-year, I was thinking fresh, I always like to start fresh every year, so, 2026, but this would have to be discussed at a board workshop, because this is now changing the charter, or as well as the policy, so, what we can do is, I'll review a date with Lauren, and then if I can have at least 2 or 3 of you attend that meeting with me, so we can present to the board, just in case they have any questions about this.
And then two children, I'm just thinking of, I only have one child.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of, but
Yes.
there are a lot of families around us who, like, it's 2 parents and 5 or 6 children, like, have.
Well, that's why-
children or
Are, yes.
Yeah, you're a resident, you live
Okay,
here,
no, I'm playing out like,
Hence why that.
there's gonna be so many ways you get
Yes.
around it, there's
And then you
no way.
have to assume that people are not gonna say, these 20 kids are online. We have to hope that the residents, because they're usually the ones that are complaining about what's going on, but they're usually the ones that are bringing in 10 kids that aren't theirs.
And I'm not budgeting, like, oh, they did it too, so then.
Super fast would.
That's easy.
I think everything to review about the kids, you brought up kids. So what age can we allow the kids to do the one, because let's say your daughter, but it's 5 years old. Probably not, but let's say 5.
no, she is.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
So at the time, what if you have family in town? So
I'm
now,
thinking like Christmas, I had 2 families staying with us.
Yeah.
I had, okay, my husband and I, and then we had 2 other sets of adults. Then we had 3 children in total with
Yeah.
us. We went to the playground, and I'm like playing this out of. That would fall under this, because we each could have 2 guests.
yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. When does it count for a kid? Like,
What
should we
age?
say like 12?
You saying that, you
That
saying.
they get their
They can
pass.
pass, yeah.
So this is, I'm not gonna bring it now, I mean, if we follow the event side, but when we have events, we have kids that say, oh, I'm 8 years old, there's ones with the scooters, I can show you my, middle school ID,
No.
but I don't have a,
No.
right, but I think we need to tell the board if we're doing this one
Yeah.
too, we gotta
They're not
have
gonna
a
have-
specific
You're gonna have to provide it.
cutoff, I think 12
The
Yeah.
12 is when you can get your passes, right?
Is that what
Yeah.
it is currently, or?
is 12, so I just
Yeah,
wanna
so
make
we
sure
did
we
12.
say a specific number, and that means if you're under 12, you should not be allowed to be at the facility by yourself. You have a parent or something. Yeah, I mean, so,
For safety reasons alone,
and that can
Well,
help,
not only that, they're by themselves, you know, things that they do stuff too.
and that can help
they do
the
stuff too, and they can.
They all like
also
to-
bicycle
live in a
concerns
horrible
with the
world
rest of
where
the
Yeah,
children get picked
Oh,
up
yeah.
and taken away.
So there's no way in our access that technology can put, like, a child is a child, they're not the owner of the unit, like, they're almost like a guest, I'm trying to think of the
They're
word.
a dependent, not a. I think that's too technical, but
Yeah,
that's.
that's right.
Like, so if,
Very,
like my
very-
son has 5 children, but they will be able to bring, there's gotta be a
Well,
limit.
12.
There's gotta
That's
be.
why
When
we
you're-
say
when you
below
turn
the
12.
age, 12 and up would be getting a pass.
Yeah,
And
so
entitled
now
to
this
those
kids
2
can get
credits.
a pass.
Mhm.
Yeah, at 12.
And they could bring 2
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
wherever they go to.
Well, you could all come in, I know you could go on and on, but we could also make it one guest per pass. And you would really thwart that kind of situation where you have 50 people, one coming from one household.
But then you have people saying that's not fair,
Yeah.
that they have 8
Yeah.
people on a household, I only
Yeah.
have 3 or 4.
Because you're gonna get the people who have individuals come to visit for spring break and
Yeah.
like, use the pool except for this
Or
one week of.
Just say you are a single person and your married friends come over,
Yep.
you can only take one.
Who's supposed to be per household, not per ID.
Yeah. This is
So
how,
we put
it
it.
should be the ideal way to do it. It would be the ideal. Unless you have a monitor at every single facility, there's no way you can control it. Because the problem is enforcement, right?
This is my initial thing was too.
Yeah, and you know, with the game.
But like at the end of the day, you just stand at the gate and just, I see people
Yeah.
posting somebody propped the gate open so people could go in.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Makes their job so hard because you have people doing this.
My friend and I were going to the pool. She forgot her ID. I said, don't worry, I have mine. I went to open the gate as I'm trying to get it out of my purse. A young girl walked out, don't worry, I got it, and let us go in.
Yeah, people are just very nice.
They're very nice.
That's the problem. They don't make us look more as a problem.
But also,
Coming out.
That's
also
why-
vice versa, you don't wanna do a confrontation.
No.
Like when I lived here at Lakeside, I used to live over at Lakeside, and when I and let me in, I'm gonna let them in, you know, you don't wanna cause that confrontation.
No.
Cause Danny and I will deal with that when they're like, hey, they're at Spring Park, but we let them in, I'm like, why'd you do it?
Yeah.
Cause they feel uncomfortable, and I understand why, you know?
Yeah.
But
So
I,
2 to 1, clean,
2 to 1 clean,
easy,
yeah,
easy. All right.
I agree. The one thing I do
Does
wanna
events
bring,
have to follow our?
they don't,
I
it's,
think
they're like
they
a
stop
private.
using us, because I do think there are, the events tend to happen around times where people have people in town, or they have, like, grandparents, like, there are more events that you'd have,
Right.
so I don't, you know.
Well, isn't
But I
there a
think
way
the
that you should
events
like
are-
a ticket for those things? I don't go down because it's too crowded for me. My
So
family doesn't like the park.
park, the events depend, I think one year for Spooky Soiree, I think it was last year, we did 1 pass, or 1 ticket per Crow ID, and then everyone had to pay $5 for their guests. And that did not go well,
Didn't go over.
because it was something new, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that, it's new, so
It's-
if
no,
they
it's
follow
new, it's-
through and keep doing it.
That's what we have to think of, we have to be persistent, so if we're doing a 1 to 2 ratio, I would like for the special events committee to go with the 1 to 2, and then if someone has 4 guests, maybe you charge the $5.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't think.
Just like buying
people-
a guest pass.
Yeah, and with us being more involved with the event side, I can understand looking at the budget, which we wanna make sure we wanna try to offset that as much as possible, to try to prevent increases for the event side, you know?
All right, so we're gonna stick to the 1 to 2.
The guest pass, is that just for a certain period of time, or I didn't even.
That's a great
ask,
question,
Because I was like,
because
oh, babysitters do, like, I have time, which babysitters live in Celebration, to
So,
have my daughter go
I
to the playground with
I
her.
think it's up to
the
30
guest
days.
policy, you can have it 4 times a year, so photo ID badges will be issued to house guests of residents, providing the following conditions. Residents must complete the house guest listen with the names of each house guest and accepting liability for any damages. House guests must present a valid ID before a badge is issued. The expiration date of these badges will not exceed 30 days. However, these passes can be extended upon expiration for no more than an additional 30 days. There is a $10 deposit for each pass issued, refundable at a time the pass is returned, and then requests for house guests are limited to 4 times a year.
I didn't even know that was an option.
I didn't
Oh,
either.
yeah,
No idea.
When did they put that in?
that's.
It has to be more.
So you, they
It's
give
just
you
not,
a
I don't
card
think it's advertised.
with your picture, with their picture on it.
My friends came from Poland, the kids kept wanting to.
I
go to
don't
the
think
pool.
that should be the deposit refundable.
So someone told me about it.
Right.
I dragged everyone with me down to town hall and click, click, here's my idea, blah, 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 everybody has a passport.
So this guest pass will have a picture, like how would our guys look at this pass? Like,
It should, the guest
It would
pass
look
should say
exactly-
Yeah, the
guest.
picture, right?
Yeah, we have to set an expiration date.
In bold.
Yes.
Or
I
it
agree.
could be a different, it could be a
Different
different
type.
bar.
Different color.
Yeah, like the green
Right.
color or whatever.
Lauren, I don't know if you're able to chime in, for the guest pass, could this committee review changes for this policy as well? Oh, she's not the mean. But I'll try to figure out to determine whether or not we could review that, because it's not really advertised about guest passes. That's like the first time, when the ladies told me that the other day, I didn't realize the actual rules of the guest pass, to be honest.
It is in the handbook, I just reread it.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that last week.
Yeah, wait,
The
welcome.
The
welcome,
yeah.
yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah, and I reviewed the
Oh, so we're not actually charging people for it.
I think that's something that maybe we can review as a
Yeah.
committee. I don't know if that's something you guys wanna review now, we got
But
30
not,
minutes.
if we're making,
But
if
if we're planning out a car.
Yeah, it was why refund.
why
Yeah,
refund it?
especially with people who
We're
have
getting $10 worth of access.
European guests. You can come from Europe, you don't just stay a week and a half.
No,
You're
30
here
days.
for 30 to 40.
That's
So what's that?
wild for me. I think the guest pass, instead of saying guest pass, it should say guest of so-and-so.
Yes, good idea.
And expiration and,
Yep.
yep.
So the $10, keep it at 10, but it's non-refundable.
Yeah.
Yes, non-refundable.
Yeah, it's not all.
Per,
Yeah, yep.
And do we like the 30 days? Is
Yes.
30 days
Yeah.
too much?
Yes, no, it's
It's
not
not
it's
time, because also people often come and they use this as a landing base and
And again, the amount of
They go out.
Europeans and,
that could be up to 4 times a year.
yeah,
4 times a year, yeah.
It's not bad, it's really reasonable.
and it is extendable.
Or more money.
yeah.
So the only thing that we'll request is $10 non-refundable for guests each time?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all you pay is a $10 non-refund? Jeez.
Well, right now, if you return it, it's refundable right now. But my thing is, I think we need to put names,
Refunding.
Oh,
I think we need to put names on it, because if it just says guest pass,
And you can,
like, let's say Celia gives that away, how do I know that,
Yeah, because it has to get turned in.
great. So,
It should maybe
Or
have.
can we make it $20, $10 being refundable?
If it's returned, it's tied to the homeowner, whoever's sponsoring.
but as a park monitor, let's say, I mean, I'm at the pool, how do I know
It's
I
who
think
belongs to, you know?
Oh, but
I
I
can
can
take it.
The homeowner would have to
There's
return,
gotta
or
be a
the
date on it.
person would have to return it.
Right,
Because, yes, I paid $10 for it, but if we're tracking it, then it's, if I don't turn it back in, I should be getting either a letter
It should
or
have
a,
the expiration.
hey, you're
Or-
gonna dump,
no,
you're.
I
it's
was
not
30
$10,
days
but it's not
It's got the 30 days, it has a date on it.
If I go up to this person and it's expired, I don't care who it is, it's expired, you have to.
Yeah.
right, no, I understand that expiration, but if they're causing ruckus at a facility, it's not gonna say, it's just gonna say yes pass, I assume.
No,
No,
we're saying
no,
it's, we do expiration date, you don't
Oh,
need the
yeah.
name. We
Okay,
just,
yeah.
because we're not gonna know, I don't know if it's Fernanda's guys, I don't know who this is, they could be lying, but.
Well,
I
it
can
should
keep the
be
date.
linked to the
It
owner.
should be
But
linked,
at the
but-
park monitor, I don't know, I don't have.
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying, it
Yeah,
should say
it should say
guest
guest
pass
Yes,
and the name. So if I know if it's Celia's guest, maybe there should be a consequence of, hey, you had a rowdy guest.
Yeah.
You should
Instead of
go
4 times a year.
Or they've caused damage or suspend their pass.
There should be a number, like we have on, like, number 913, whatever, on that, and then that would be, it doesn't have to say, it could say guest of Celia, but if Celia's not there, I won't know, right? But I know that this pass is expired, but if I know that this person was rowdy, I need to see this pass, oh, it's 932, okay, 932. I'm gonna go and tell the front desk ladies that this guest of 932 broke this chair. Oh, okay, and look it up. Oh, it's Celia, hey, Celia,
Yeah.
and then you get billed. But I'm talking as a park monitor or a.
Yeah, you're thinking on,
Yeah, because I.
on the staff side.
There you go.
Staff side, so I
Yeah,
think.
photo
we
and
have-
expiration.
Very true, yeah.
And then if they wanted, oh, we needed another 30 days,
And they go,
okay?
$10.
You- $10 and.
Or they don't even have to go to Planet Fit, like if they're using it to go to the gym, or if they're using it, you play that, actually Planet Fitness is probably more expensive these days than $10.
Well, they're actually not allowed into the gym because they don't have a waiver.
No, yeah, no guests in the gym.
Okay.
No.
So kind of like what someone brought up for tennis, I do think that's a great idea. I don't think that certain facilities should be accessible unless there is a specific waiver, you know what I mean?
I think tennis, listening to how passionate,
Yeah.
our crew is, like, I'm surprised the courts aren't just all residents at all times, but
You
part of me is like
talk
to
to a
join.
lot of people and they'll say, there's never anybody on the courts.
Yeah,
So-
so like at noon, it's like a billion degrees.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
problem,
no,
we only got 3 hours in the morning
Yeah.
and at night, so that's what kills it. That's what everybody wants, so the problem is trying to get, they want to get the time when they want it.
So just
you know?
the history of tennis,
Yeah.
our team has done multiple audits. So this has been going on for 5-6 years that people have been complaining. It seems like it's been more after COVID because that was like the only facility, everybody wanted to be outdoors. And then that's when tennis got popular out of nowhere in this town, which is great.
I
So
think
we
I
are doing-
tormented you when I first got on the board.
Yeah.
Send me all the schedules,
Yeah.
send
Yeah.
me this, send me
Yeah.
that, send
Yeah.
me tennis, because now I'm on the board and everybody's sending me messages, it's like, tennis, 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 it's always going on, it's always an
They
issue.
know,
So,
they
But
know.
part of me is like, if they want, I think a waiver of course,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying we need to charge for everything, but if these are used as much as we're saying, like, they are clubs, there are a few clubs in there, right? Okay.
And that's the issue too, so there's different clubs that are playing at the
Clubs,
same
that's,
time.
yeah.
Forget about
Getting-
Darren, how about the other clubs that are, we're
Yeah.
not at the times.
Does the women's club, the men's club?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Seniors
saying.
club, the.
So Darren isn't I mean, it is one of the issues, but it's not the main issue, it's just too many people. We should all just make one tennis club and that be the end of
And
it.
because then we'd be able to understand, I'm like, I was looking through where I'm like, how many hours, okay, of the number of hours on
You
the
made that.
maximum
hard
number
last
of
year.
Yeah, I
Well,
saw
they want to play with their friends, so they want to,
Yes.
we all want to play together, we want to play with us. So they should make it where it's one group and then make it scheduled, like pickleball was
Yeah.
doing over there at
Yeah.
Georgetown. It was very organized. It was really, you know,
So the concern is that we discussed a bit ago was if we get rid of this tennis group, if we get rid of Darren, it will be the Wild Wild West. So we'll have still people complaining about they can't get on the courts.
I'm sure
Because
they
everyone's
will.
bringing their own
Because
stuff.
then it'll be out of control.
It's residents.
And Darren does a good job with our team at least. If he'll say, hey, there's a non-resident, or he'll take the initiative to say, hey, do you have your pro ID? Like, so he actually does help monitor the courts as well.
See, Stephanie, I literally went down, took a picture,
Yep.
sat there all day long.
She did that last year.
I agree with you,
Day.
that is great.
it's a good program, it is a good, but maybe what you can do is we can take it off the website. Yeah.
If you don't have that over there, it'll
It
be.
comes down to,
Yeah.
if you want to make it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
It comes down to people all want to be there at the same time.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it's a prime time.
It's not, look, there's
open
a
time.
lot of open time.
We're gonna have those.
Full
tennis
days
courts
that are
open.
open.
Many of the
But if
times.
they don't want to go then,
No.
how do you
So-
say that? Well, Wednesday's open, why don't you go then?
So the reason why we moved the ladies and men's back to 8:30 is for people who didn't want to be a part of their club, they can play from 7 to 8:30.
Yeah.
But Darren pays a flat rate. He used to pay 20%.
Okay.
And then we had concerns about people saying that you have to audit every month. Problem is with the auditing is it may not be accurate. The roster may show, but what if you gave a discount to someone? What if it's like if there's two kids, correct? So it does get a little bit sticky. So that's why as a committee, we decided to do flat rates. So now everyone is on a flat rate. If they do a 20%, they have to show us their financial statements at the end of the year.
It is easy.
Yeah.
It's easy and very smart. You can count on that amount in the end of the month, it's easy.
And you can,
We always have this product for 12 years. Every summer, there's a bunch
Oh, they
of
go nuts.
problems with tennis courts, every summer.
I remember the first year I was on this committee and tennis court people came in, I was like, ooh, maybe I made the wrong
You
choice.
missed, you missed,
you could have 10 more tennis
you
courts.
missed 2021.
Yeah,
Ooh.
they're very passionate about it, and I don't blame them.
We don't have the same problem with soccer field because first, we can accommodate more people. And second, everybody is welcome. Depending on the time, we can create a program, we can be
But
together.
also,
It's more
Yeah.
easy to
It's
have
all-
tennis courts.
one, that everybody participates together, tennis court. I'm on this here, you're on this, it's more segregated, for lack of a better description.
Yeah.
And
I
like
mean, no,
Mike
it is
said,
skill level, all that.
like Mike said, if we have 20 more tennis courts, we have the same problem.
That's it.
You know, it's not like when we were kids and everybody wants to play handball, you know? Okay. You got 6 people, didn't matter how good you were, didn't matter how bad you were. We all played 16 people on a court. And we had 3 courts,
And multiple groups.
which were also used when you wanted to hit the tennis ball, or you wanted to, you know, it was an elementary school playground.
But now that we're adjusting, recommend to the board a 1-to-2 ratio, I think we
Yeah.
may have to look at our contractors and adjust instead of 51%, it's gonna have to jump. We're eliminating the number of guests a resident can have, that's just something we gotta look into
It's
this year.
75%, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, 70.
And that can help alleviate these concerns.
But ultimately, the issue with tennis is, like I said, it's the times. So no
Yeah.
matter- even if you did that, there's no way to really, and again, I don't think the courts are that busy, but I know for them it is because that's when they see it.
It's their perception, it's their truth.
It's when they want it. Yeah, and look, and you know from summer, no one's playing from what, 11 to 5?
Yep.
These days, I go out
Yeah,
at
it's
8 o'clock in the morning and it's really hot.
I know.
I mean, I wanna hit that.
What if we talked about a shade structure of?
That's what I'm saying. You
Oh,
put the
Yeah,
shade-
like 1 or 2 courts, so at least
I
they're
would love
accessible
that.
all day. You know,
You put the
which-
shade
that's
structure,
what
I
I-
think
I,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's gonna cost over 100,000.
And then that's.
And it's still hot.
Those courts,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's still, yeah.
the more hot topics, oh, I want a shade, well, I want the shade too. What are you gonna say, grow a bigger tree? I mean.
I did look up whatever structures were referenced, they look pretty basic for what's at Fort.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You
for,
can't-
Gatlin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks pretty basic and it doesn't look like it's that much shade, but it does look sturdy, so it's like probably just wood and it doesn't look.
How many days a week do the groups have anyway, the tennis courts?
The ladies have it twice a week and so do the guys. So, you know,
Who has it on weekends?
it's open with the exception of Darren. He's allowed to have it Saturdays if there's makeup lessons throughout the week. So if, it gets canceled from rain, he makes up, on Saturday.
So is,
But we can restrict it to say, hey, you're available only Monday through Friday,
That's
only
probably gonna be.
weekends, you know.
Yeah.
Now,
besides-
as a committee, we can restrict, these contracts,
So if you get 2 days a week of the sport.
Mhm.
I mean, I think they'd be happy with, that's what they're playing with now, so if they go Saturday morning or whatever, that helps.
and
so.
it's at 7 o'clock in the morning?
7 AM. Yeah, and I know people are saying that, oh, you know, if the lights are going on at 6:12, 6:30, we get to play, the problem is it's a safety concern.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I can't wait till exactly 7, because when we were doing tennis audits, we get
And
there at
it's like very
6:30.
informed.
It's like,
At time in the morning and.
yeah, it's irritating.
Especially if it's eerie, like usually, yeah, like 5:45 I'm out and it's eerie.
Yeah. So,
And again, we don't live in such a hot world anymore.
No.
Jeez.
Same to say.
Oh, you journey?
Well, is there any other discussions for each committee member? Like, this is our chance. Is there anything else in like the near future that you wanna have like workshops? Cause we can do like, we can do a workshop once a month and then every other month it's a meeting. Like, it's just something that we could discuss as a committee, but is there something specific that's like, that just came in my head, I wanna have a workshop on, or?
Not that I personally can think of, but we'd like to have more pop-ups, we've already talked about it, everybody could come up with ideas.
What do you mean pop-ups?
A pop-up class, like we're
So
gonna have
pop-up
a
events.
ladies' night out.
Yep.
That.
Oh, like
already
radio?
work.
Yep.
Yeah. Things like that, just to come up with ideas.
What we're trying to do for, the rec side is, since the events is underneath Parks and Rec now, is we try to do complimentary pop-ups for residents. Ones that are just like $5 to $10 each, so it's a little fee, like tie-dyeing, we did that. And then it includes maybe between $30 to $50, that could be like a painting with a twist class, a kids night out. And then it gets to the 60 to 80, maybe for adults, like a mixology class. And then the 200, like, is for a week of a summer camp or something. So that's just something we're trying to do different levels, so residents can enjoy complimentary events as well as events where that they could do a small pay to play.
The murder mysteries.
Murder mystery.
One of the things just too, I know before when we had A51 fields,
Uh-huh.
they had those little soccer goals out there for the kids to play, we go out there and play now, obviously we can't use it anymore. I mean, can we put soccer goals on like some of the fields?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
Spring Park and then East Lawn.
You know, it's funny, I think,
I think it'd be great for that way kids can go out and play and run.
I think we were looking at potentially reviewing the goals at the athletic complex, because they're from 2019. And those goals that are kind of getting wearing and tearing, moving them to different facilities.
That'd be great, because a lot of kids go out there.
Recycle them.
Yeah.
The only concern that we have about that is having outside people coming and teaching soccer and.
No, this would
Wow.
be just for friends.
Yeah, so we used to have a lot of trouble, so Disney does a lot of tournaments and they send them to celebrations.
Yeah.
So anytime they see an open field, we get calls about cheerleading, football, as well as soccer.
Well, that's a conversation that needs to be had with them.
Right, but the goals, if you advertise those goals, people will just walk in because there's no gate, that's
They
the.
climb the nets, they go on tours over.
No, I
Totally,
they're on a permanent basis, but if we're talking about pop-ups and activities, like, hi, we're gonna have a soccer night. They'll have it up, everybody can come, everybody can.
Yeah, I think Mike's saying, permanent soccer
Yeah,
goals.
no.
So
I mean, the thing is that you're gonna, you could do smaller goals, but I know you're
Yeah.
right. People,
They
look,
have to
every
be-
facility,
yeah.
trainers on there. The beach volleyball courts always have trainers on there for baseball or
yeah.
something ridiculous, like this is not that.
I like to put the goal over there and at some time that they go there, lock it down, open again, next day.
I think it's enforcement too.
Yeah.
You know, if they're going there and checking, if someone says they training, you know when a guy's training.
Okay, so I will let you know.
That's it,
You know where I'm
more
going.
to
Is,
stay.
it is such a great area. Let's say I'm a resident training and I said, oh, he's just my friend. This happens every day on the tennis courts. Although he's paying me for a training session, I can't accuse him, that's the issue.
Sports do.
Yeah, he goes out to volleyball.
I think
Not as
that's.
bad as tennis, but yes.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
But you know what, the thing is this too, like, it would be, and again, no one wants confrontation, but if they say it to the point of like, the soccer goals, if someone's training, if I go out there, a kid goes out there, I get to use that goal the same time that you do.
Yeah.
It's open to everybody, right? But again, it's a small thing, that's just what I was thinking, so I was,
Yeah.
when it was at a 51 building, that's those fields, it was nice, the kids would go out there and play and.
As long as they're permanent, we don't move them,
It's a soft
I think it's
recommendation.
a good recommendation.
I agree. It's nice.
But we want to check, so our guys, including Mayberry's, they do check, so.
I'm telling you, those guys check all the time. They come out to the courts, they come out to the pools,
That's good.
that they are doing good, put that to you guys, it's really much better.
And then that'll be determining if we continue at the elevated and not just Mayberry, Mulberry, Mayberry.
Mayberry, yeah.
Yes. Because the increased hours was just for the summer.
It was just for the summer, yeah. I do think it could be a great recommendation to do this during winter break, or spring break.
Basically from January through.
Because the only deterrent would be that you're
Absolutely.
I mean,
but you know there's a tennis court next to you, and that's just.
Yeah.
Well, we're always gonna have Mayberry, it's just
They
not
can
like
then
every
run it
day,
every
like,
single-
but again, as long as we have Mayberry, we have those signs, and
Well, that too, they don't have, you don't know when they're here or not, see, it's just like, they could be here 2 times a week. But
Exactly.
if I don't know, my God, I don't wanna mess with them, so people don't do what they're not supposed
And
to
once
do.
people get used to saying, oh, they're coming right over the summer, they think they're gonna be there all the time. It's kind of like when, the police, the sheriff parks an empty car.
Exactly,
Get it
right.
Yep.
That's the best way.
But is there any comments or discussion items that you
No,
have?
I think more pop-up, more events, I feel like it has been a little bit of a.
Yes, little things,
Yeah.
make little things free to low cost.
Well, next year's 30th anniversary, there's a
Oh, we're
lot.
doing the 30-30 series. We're gonna do 30 events for the 30th. We're working with a vendor. It's not, I don't wanna announce it just yet, but they're being an in-kind sponsor and giving Croa a brand new trailer that they're gonna build with our logo on it. Our goal is for next year is to do 30 block parties. So you can rent as a resident a trailer and we'll bring it out and you can do a block party with it. So if there's anything else that you guys think of, like smaller like pop-ups, we'd love to be able to accommodate anything we can, so.
Yeah, because we could,
Not
anything
a city hero, but a.
from like,
Hey,
we're
so,
talking with, us, with the foundation, like from November to next November. Didn't we say, we was,
Yes, I remember.
like, anything that's done, we're gonna incorporate 30 into it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, there can be some nice events down here too.
Right
down
how
the
sweet the ornament thing went over.
Yeah.
And as much as I didn't enjoy it because of the way that it was done, they had a block party right over on that street. It's just too bad they didn't tell the owner something. I told Danny, there's people at block party, I didn't get anything with this, don't they have to get the permission? In New York, we have to get permission.
Well, they try, you know,
It's just like everybody, they're gonna do with what they get away with.
but there's some like, when you come down here, once you pass like Scoops, is it Scoops or is it before Scoops? If you make
Yes,
a
on the
left,
address.
if you make a left,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
first
yeah.
left,
I know what you're talking
it takes you right to the clubhouse.
Yeah,
here.
no, but
Right?
the
Right, so if that street is closed in front of the businesses, there's access to
There
get
is, yeah.
everything everywhere else.
That's why I also
And
we're reviewing as well.
Yeah.
To do like a block party and whatnot.
Yeah, that would be nice, because it would help the businesses.
Or it's just that same block, no, the next one, close it off and close off right over here. I mean, yes, it was a pain in the neck, and yes, it was annoying, because we were excluded, hence why now that everybody is included in the, the guest thing that's going
That's good.
that can be done, because you can get around it easily.
Yeah, even the playground. Yes, fun at the playground too. down at the-
Well, keep in mind too, the old apartment complex made it very clear, that's their playground, that's their playground.
Is it,
It's
I am so serious.
it's not fenced off.
No. Yes, I know they do, but they made it very clear.
Do people check over there? Is there like a security guard over there?
They can say whatever they want, it's not proof.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it kind of
It is
there.
there.
We never want
It
that
is
playground
there.
anyways.
It's very
metal.
high.
Yeah.
It's
metal.
metal,
Very high.
and now with all the rain and stuff,
Yeah.
all the sand.
Yeah,
oh,
very-
It's raining out at the bottom. It's not very good. But, when I had my friends there, there was somebody there, I don't know you from the apartments. Yeah, well, my friend, they live over here, they have a townhouse. Well, you're not allowed to play here.
You have a guest house?
Look at the fact they kicked me out of the parking lot one time.
Are you adjourning
Are
this?
you checking?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay, the next one is the